Chapter 593. War was indeed cruel. However, this did not mean that Yin Luofeng would watch helplessly as her subordinates died in battle. Even if there were still a few casualties, it would be best to reduce them as much as possible. "Master, what's the use of these?" Lin Ruobai blinked and asked curiously. "There's no need to ask too much. Just pass them to the injured. This is your task today. Wake me up after the battle ends. I'll sleep for a while." After saying this, Yin Luofeng found a secluded place to sit down. She leaned lazily against the tree behind her and closed her eyes to rest. Everyone was stunned. Even the two parties involved in the battle could not help but look at Yin Luofeng. She fell asleep? How could she fall asleep under such circumstances? They really did not know whether to call her lazy or careless. Soon, the people from the Big Dipper gang and the Sky Marshal Court retracted their gazes and continued to fight. Murong Bei was a little worried about Yin Luofeng. He sent a few disciples from the Big Dipper gang to protect her. However, they were stopped by Lin Ruobai when they approached Yin Luofeng. "Don't disturb my master's rest. Even if she's asleep, you can't hurt her." Her master was protected by milk tea. She had even seen milk tea fight with other spiritual beasts with her own eyes. Although that little thing looked small and weak, it was actually more ferocious than anyone else. Touching Yin Luofeng under his protection, wasn't that the same as seeking death? As Lin Ruobai was Yin Luofeng's disciple, the gang members trusted her words. They did not go to Yin Luofeng's side to protect her. Instead, they continued to fight. In reality, Yin Luofeng was not asleep. She had only let her soul enter the divine grimoire space. In the eyes of outsiders, it looked like she was sleeping. Under the dark blue sky, little Mo saw Yin Luofeng at first glance and happily pounced towards her. "Master, why are you here?" "I'm here to see how the cultivation of the seed is going." Yin Luofeng's lips curled into a faint smile. Her pitch-black eyes gradually landed on the herb field in front of her. "Little Mo, what's the origin of this seed? Why do you want me to take it?" "This." Little Mo frowned. "I've been away from this continent for a long time. Even if I return, the information in my mind is incomplete. To be honest, I don't know what it is. I'll only understand its function after it is cultivated. How long will it take to nurture it? I'm not sure." Little Mo shook her head. "Maybe 1 year, maybe 2 or 3 years. I don't know the specifics. Master, I believe that as long as we wait patiently, he will definitely be nurtured." Little Mo's eyes lit up. When Little Mo saw the seed at the auction, she had a feeling that she had to get her hands on it. Otherwise, he would definitely regret it in the future. This was also why he had allowed Yin Luofeng to obtain the seed that day. "Little Mo, if there are any changes to the seed, you must inform me. I still have something to do, so I'll leave the grimoire space first." Hearing the girl's words, Little Mo's eyes were filled with reluctance. "Master, it's not easy for you to come here. Why don't you stay a little longer?" Seeing the reluctance on Little Mo's face, Yin Luofeng said with a faint smile, "If you can't bear to part with me, why don't you come with me to the outside world for a few hours? Forget it." Little Mo shuddered and laughed awkwardly. "That little witch is too violent. I'd better stay away from her in case she beats me up one day." Chapter 594. Yin Luofeng smirked. He took one last look at Little Mo and decided to leave the divine grimoire space. At that moment, Tang Rant's expression turned ugly. He never thought that Murong Bei, who had just broken through to the intermediate heavenly spirit warrior, would be able to fight against him. It seemed that Murong Bei's reputation had spread far and wide for a reason. Bang! Tang Ran forced Murong Bei to take a few steps back and signaled the person beside him with his eyes. That person understood Tang Rant's meaning. He immediately put down the opponent in front of him and rushed toward Yin Luofeng. There was a vicious glint in his eyes, and the dagger in his hand emitted a cold glint. All he needed to do was to draw a gentle stroke, and the sleeping young lady would bleed on the spot. "Sect leader," Murong Bei shouted in shock when he saw the actions of the people from the Sky Marshal Court. He wanted to use this opportunity to wake Yin Luofeng up. Unfortunately, The young lady's eyes were still closed as if she did not notice what was happening outside. Lin Ruabai wasn't anxious at all. She looked at the man with pity in her eyes and spat out a few words. Idiot! That person had just rushed in front of Yin Luofeng, but before he could make a move, a little hamster crawled out of her sleeve. It placed its hands on its waist and squealed at that person. Squeak, squeak. However, that person did not stop. His dagger accurately slashed toward Yun Luofeng's neck. His actions had completely angered Milk Tea. Squeak, squeak. Milk Tea squeaked angrily and jumped onto the back of that person's hand. She opened her mouth and bit down. Its teeth were sharp, and it bit into the bone. The person's hand trembled in pain, and the dagger fell from his hand. Damn gold-seeking rat. He flew into a rage out of humiliation and slapped the gold-seeking rat. Unfortunately, the gold-seeking rat was extremely fast and dodged his palm in an instant. It then opened its mouth and bit his thigh. Along the way to Netherworld City, they had encountered many spiritual beasts. Milk Tea had always dealt with those ferocious spiritual beasts. However, Milk Tea did not kill them immediately. Instead, she played with them like a cat with a mouse. Only when the spiritual beasts were exhausted would it make a move to deal with them. Now, seeing the battle between the people of the Sky Martial Pavilion and Milk Tea, Lin Ruobai could not help but think of the spirit beast that had died tragically. The sympathy in his eyes deepened. Why did he have to provoke Milk Tea of all people? This little hamster's temper was worse than anyone else's. Provoking it was equivalent to provoking a demon. Useless thing. When Tang Ran saw that his subordinate couldn't even deal with a gold-seeking mouse, his face couldn't help but sink, and he signaled another person nearby with his eyes. You go deal with it. Yes, pavilion leader. The disciple quickly stepped forward and raised a sword high, about to slash at Yin Luofeng. When Milk Tea turned around and saw this scene, she was completely enraged. With a squeak, it directly pierced through the body of the man just now. That's right, it didn't even bother to bend and directly pass through the other party's body. That person didn't even have the chance to resist. A bloody hole appeared in his chest, and his body fell straight down. As for the Sky Martial Pavilion disciple, standing in front of Yin Luofeng, he did not seem to sense the approaching danger. The corner of his lips curled into a mocking smile, and he raised his sword high and was about to slash down. As long as this slash landed, the beautiful head of the young girl in front of him would fall off. From then on, there would no longer be a Yin Luofeng in this world. Chapter 595. Those who offend the Sky Martial Court shall die. Swoosh! The long sword quickly descended, and was about to slash at Yin Luofeng's head. However, at this moment, a sharp pain came from his chest, and his hand suddenly froze in the air. He lowered his head in disbelief and stared at the bloody hole in his chest. His eyes widened in disbelief. At the same time, the girl who had kept her eyes closed finally opened her eyes. Boom! The man's body collapsed heavily in front of her. Fresh blood flowed all over the ground and seeped into the ground. Squeak, squeak. Milk Tea squeaked angrily. It had lost interest in playing around with these people. It was a one-hit kill. Suddenly, it saw that Yin Luofeng had woken up and rushed into her arms. It cupped its paws and squeaked as if it was trying to please her. It was asking for praise. Well done. Yin Luofeng patted Milk Tea's head generously. Milk Tea excitedly jumped up. She stuck out her tongue and licked Yin Luofeng's face. With a whoosh, she burrowed into her sleeve. Master, I want to go out and kill this stinky hamster. Little Mo was furious. It dared to molest Master. I'm going to kill it and eat its meat. Yin Luofeng calmed Little Mo down. Then, she looked at the two parties fighting in the square. Forget about the people from the Sky Martial Court. Even the members of the Big Dipper Gang were shocked by Milk Tea's methods. To the members of the Big Dipper Gang, the gold-seeking hamster was just Yin Luofeng's pet. Some of them had even teased it when they were bored. However, Milk Tea did not show any signs of fighting back then. No one would have thought that this harmless little hamster would have such a powerful strength. Some of the people who had teased it shuddered in fear. If they had known that it was so powerful, they would not have dared to tease it. Tang Ran narrowed his eyes. A cold light flashed in his eyes, and his lips curled into a greedy smile. How good would it be if this gold-seeking hamster belonged to him? Tang Ran, things that are not yours will never be yours. Murong Bei could see through the greed in Tang Ran's eyes. He sneered and mocked him. Tang Ran sneered. That might not be the case. All the treasures in this world belonged to the capable. Even if she had this gold-seeking rat now, it did not mean that she would have it forever. A spiritual beast like this would only be able to display its full potential in the hands of a capable person. In her hands, it's no different from chicken ribs. In other words, only he was worthy of a spirit beast like the gold-seeking rat. It seems like everyone in the Sky Marshal Pavilion is thick-skinned to a certain extent. No one can compare to you. Murong Bei's face was filled with a sarcastic smile. Unfortunately, you're destined to fail. Boom! Murong Bei swung the iron chain in his hand again and charged at Tang Ran Shi at high speed. As his chain streaked across the sky, it brought with it a burst of flames, forcing Tang Ran to retreat. He didn't dare to take his attack head-on, Murong Bei. Just then, a young girl's languid voice rang out from behind Murong Bei. I asked you to end this quickly. Why did you drag it out until now? Murong Bei stopped his attack and turned to look at Yin Luofeng. His face was filled with embarrassment. Leader, it's my fault. Forget it. You can leave first. Yin Luofeng's gaze slowly shifted to Tang Ran. It's getting late. I don't want to stay here for too long. So, immediately go to the back and count to 10. Chapter 596. Murong Bei was stunned. Like a confused monk, he asked in confusion, why do I have to count? Because by the time you count to 10, this battle should be over. What was arrogance? What was arrogance? Perhaps no one in the entire square had experienced such a cleansing like today. Yin Luofeng did not seem to notice the mocking gazes around him. He raised his eyebrows and said confidently, let's start. Don't waste time. Oomph. Tang Ran's face contorted. He charged at Yin Luofeng like a bolt of lightning. Soul attack. Boom. Just as Tang Ran arrived in front of Yin Luofeng, he felt a heavy blow to his soul before he could even hurt her. Then, he was momentarily dazed. It was also at this moment that a long sword pierced his body. With a squelch, he spat out a mouthful of blood and fell to the ground in a sorry state. How many have you counted to? Yin Luofeng looked at Murong Bei calmly and asked. Murong Bei was still in shock. He had not regained his senses yet. Now that he heard Yin Luofeng's words, he immediately regained his senses and said embarrassedly, I haven't started counting. In other words, it was over before he had even started counting. He did not give anyone a chance to react at all. At that moment, Murong Bei finally understood that it was not an injustice that he had lost to Yin Luofeng that day. Grandfather! Suddenly, a shrill voice rang out, resounding throughout the entire square. Tang Yu hugged Tang Ran's bloodied body tightly and glared at Yin Luofeng angrily. Yin Luofeng, you killed my grandfather. I'll make you pay with your life. Yin Luofeng raised his eyebrows. He's not dead yet. I only destroyed his dantian with that sword. I killed him because I wanted him to witness the destruction of the Sky Marshal Pavilion. Yin Luofeng. Tang Yu clenched her fists tightly and trembled. Do you know what a dantian means to a martial artist? First, you destroyed my cousin's hand, then my grandfather's dantian. What right do you have to covet the position of the Chun family's mistress? The crowd was in an uproar. Everyone's gaze towards Yin Luofeng had already changed from the initial shock to disdain. No matter how strong this young lady was, she did not have the qualifications to become the matriarch of the Chun family. In the end, she even dared to covet the position of the Chung family's matriarch? Let me take a look at your grandfather's body. Then, an old voice came from outside the crowd. Just as everyone turned to look, they saw Chun Tian slowly walking towards them. He walked up to Tang Yu's side and placed his finger gently on Tang Ran's pulse. As he sensed the condition of Tang Ran's body, Chun Tian's frown deepened. Your dantian has indeed been destroyed. Your grandfather will probably never be able to cultivate again. Boom! Like a bolt from the blue, Tang Yu was dumbfounded. She stared at Tang, ran in disbelief. Grandpa would never be able to cultivate again? The guardian of the sky, Martial Pavilion, had already become trash? How could she bear such a blow? No! Tang Yu hugged her head tightly and knelt on the ground in tears. She screamed shrilly and turned to look at Yin Luofeng. Her eyes were bloodshot and filled with madness. Yin Luofeng, I want you to pay with your life for my grandfather's. Her voice was filled with hatred as she spoke fiercely. Chapter 597. If you had the ability to make me pay with my life, that would be possible. Unfortunately, you don't have the ability to do so. Yun Luofeng's lips curled as he glanced at Tang Yu. Also, let me give you a piece of advice. Don't be thrown away after being used by others. Hee hee. Tang Yu laughed coldly. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by being used by others? Are you talking about my cousin? Looks like it's really his cousin said before. You really like to put the blame on others. Even though Tang Yu hated Tang Tianyu's actions the day before, he was still her cousin. How could she allow any woman to speak ill of her cousin in front of her? Yin Luofeng. Chen Tian slowly stood up and stared at Yin Luofeng coldly. Little Yu is right. You must pay with your life for the sake of the Sky Martial Pavilion. Even if the Sky Martial Pavilion cannot deal with you, I can still do it for them. Yin Luofeng narrowed his eyes. I heard that in Yellow Spring City, when two forces fight, other forces cannot interfere. It's not worth it. Why are you standing against me? That's right. When two forces fight, other forces cannot interfere. However, Tang Yu is my disciple. Since that's the case, I cannot ignore the Sky Martial Pavilion's matters. A murderous aura emanated from his body. Furthermore, even without the Sky Martial Pavilion's matters, I would not let you live. Don't think that I don't know how you seduced the master and caused him to do something unspeakable with you in the forest. How could a filthy woman like you tarnish the master's innocence? Someone from the Qin family? Yun Luofeng's voice deepened and his expression darkened. Does Qin Yuqing not know about your actions here? How dare you? Who allowed you to call the master by his name? Don't think that just because you used underhanded means to get into the master's bed, that you can look down on the Chun family. As long as I'm alive, don't even think about taking a single step into the Chun family's door. Chun Tian shouted, his eyes filled with coldness. Everyone in the plaza sighed. Their gazes towards Yun Luofeng changed from disdain to anger. It would have been fine if she had only wanted to seduce the Chun family head. After all, in their hearts, the Chun family head was so perfect that it was impossible for him to be seduced. But now, this woman actually dared to climb into the Chun family's patriarch's bed. How could they not be furious? What a shameless bitch. How can a perfect person like Patriarch Chun be tarnished by her? That's right. I feel disgusted when her hand touches the Chun family's patriarch. How could Patriarch Chun be tempted by her? The Chun family patriarch is mine. Anyone who touches Patriarch Chin's woman deserves to die. Murong Bei's eyes were filled with anger when he heard the crowd's mockery. He had wanted to defend Yun Luofeng, but he knew that no one would believe him even if he did. Therefore, he could only swallow all the words he wanted to say as a sharp gaze swept across the crowd. If anyone dares to insult the sect leader again, I'll kill him. Our Big Dipper gang will fight him to the death. Murong Bei's voice was very domineering. When it entered the crowd, everyone's discussion quieted down. After all, the people who had come to the plaza to watch the battle were only from the lower-ranked factions of the Yellow Springs gang. As for those who were ranked in the top 10, they would definitely be hiding somewhere to watch the battle. They would definitely not be standing in the plaza with the others. Chapter 598. Murong Beifong turned towards Yin Luofeng when he saw that everyone had shut their mouths. His eyes were filled with anxiety. I seduced Qin Yuqing. She laughed involuntarily. Even if I did seduce him, it would still be better than Tang Yu's illicit relationship with her cousin. Tang Yu's expression changed drastically as she stared at Yin Luofeng in horror. How? How did she know? Yin Luofeng, don't you dare spout nonsense. Qin Tian scoffed coldly. Where is different from you? She's more conservative. She would never do anything immoral before marriage. It's one thing for you to have a child before marriage, but don't think that everyone is as shameless as you. Yin Luofeng glanced at Qin Tian before she walked towards Tang Ran, who was lying on the ground. She gripped the hilt of her sword tightly and pulled it out. Tang Ran grunted in pain as her face turned even paler. "What are you doing?" Tang Yu stumbled back in fear when she saw Yun Luofeng pulling out his sword and walking towards her. "Master, save me!" Yin Luofeng stopped, and, before she could finish her last word, Yin Luofeng swung the long sword in his hand through the wind. An ray of sword light rushed towards Tang Yu's arm. In an instant, her sleeve was cut off, revealing her white arm. Her arm was as white as a lotus root and was flawless. Qin Tian was about to lose his temper, but he froze when he saw Tang Yu's snow-white arm. His eyes widened in shock. "Your virginity mark." Whoosh! Tang Yu's face turned pale as large beads of sweat rolled down her forehead. She bit her lip, feeling so ashamed and resentful that she wanted to find a hole and hide in it. At that moment, all her unbearable state was exposed to the crowd. She could not help but recall the crazy scene from the previous night. "It's you." Suddenly, Tang Yu regained her senses and threw herself at Yin Luofeng like a madwoman. "How did you know about what happened between me and my cousin? Were you the one who had drugged us with the aphrodisiac?" Her words indirectly proved the relationship between her and Tang Tianyu. Before Tang Yu could reach Yin Luofeng, she was sent flying with a kick. Then her entire body fell to the ground in a sorry state. She held her stomach, sweating profusely from the pain. "Yin Luofeng, you vicious woman. Even if I become a ghost, I won't let you off." Her voice was shrill and hoarse, like the wail of a ghost and the howl of a wolf, causing one's hair to stand on end. If it was in the past, Chun Tian would definitely rush over to help Tang Yu up and comfort her. However, this time, he did nothing, and his eyes were filled with disappointment. You actually slept with your cousin and lost your purity, yet you still want to be the mistress of the Chun family?" The crowd was in an uproar again. It turned out that Tang Yu had always regarded Chun Yuqing as her target. However, she was a woman who had lost her innocence. What right did she have to manage the Chun family? "Master, it's not like that. It's Yin Luofeng. She gave me an aphrodisiac. It's really not what you think." Tang Yu scrambled over to Chun Tian and tugged at his robes. "I'm innocent. You have to believe me." Chun Tian shook his head. "No matter what your reasons are, losing your purity is unforgivable. I'm already giving you face as my disciple by not killing you. However, you're no longer worthy of the master." Even though he hoped that his disciple would become the mistress of the Chun family, he did not want the Chun family to pick up a used shoe. If word of this got out, they would become the laughing stock of the world. Chapter 599. Tang Yu's body slumped to the ground. She knew that she would never have Chun Yuqing again in this lifetime. However, even if she couldn't have him, Yin Luofeng couldn't either. "Master, no matter how dirty my body is, my heart is still clean, unlike Yin Luofeng. Not only is his body dirty, but even his heart is dirty." Master Qin must have been blind to have fallen for her seduction. Now, whenever Tang Yu thought about what they had done in the cherry blossom forest that day, she felt as if ants were gnawing at her heart. The pain was unbearable. Chun Tian's expression changed. No matter how Tang Yu humiliated Yin Luofeng, it didn't matter. However, she had blurted out that the master was blind. If the master heard this before he could think of a solution, a voice suddenly rang out. In an instant, he felt as if he had fallen into an endless hell. "I'm sorry, my eyes are normal. That's why I chased you away when you tried to seduce me that day." The man's voice was as gentle as ever. His gaze was cold and indifferent as he slowly walked towards her. He was so handsome that he looked like a celestial being from a painting. Every single move he made was filled with temptation. Tang Yu's gaze slowly fell on the man, her eyes filled with infatuation. Even though this man had been so heartless, her heart still hung on him. "Are you all right?" The man didn't even look at Tang Yu. He slowly walked towards Yun Luofeng and asked in a concerned tone. Yun Luofeng laughed icily. I told the Qin family not to interfere in this matter. In the end, the Chun family still made a move and protected the Sky Martial Court. The man frowned slightly. It's my fault for not disciplining her properly. I will definitely give you an explanation for this. The entire plaza fell silent because of the man's arrival. No one thought that Yin Luofeng would treat Chen Yuqing so rudely. Yet, Chen Yuqing still allowed him to do as he pleased. What was so good about this woman that the master of the Chun family would treat her this way? Master! Chen Tian's heart was filled with rage. I don't know what kind of drug Yin Luofeng gave you to make you allow her to do as she pleases. However, this old man asks Patriarch to consider the Chun family and wake up as soon as possible. Don't fall into this woman's trap. Chen Yuqing glanced at Chen Tian indifferently. Chen Tian, do you know what I hate the most? Chen Tian's heart suddenly trembled. Of course, he knew that the Patriarch hated people from the Chun family the most. But, Master, I'm advising you for your own good. Have you forgotten what happened in the past? The previous Patriarch didn't listen to everyone's advice and left that woman in the Chun family, almost causing the Chun family to fall into ruin. Chen Yuqing pondered for a while and said, She is different from that woman. What's the difference? She was not a good person at all. Who knows how many men she has seduced outside? Even the child is angry at her, but she still wants to seduce the clan head. That day you even did that kind of thing in the small forest. As a member of the Chun family, how could I allow the family head to step onto the wrong path again? Faced with Chun Tian's accusations, Yin Luofeng crossed his arms in front of his chest. His lips curled into an evil smile as he leaned lazily against the tree behind him. His eyes were filled with amusement. Chen Yuqing's eyes grew colder and colder. She asked icily, I don't know, what did she and I do in the small forest? Chapter 600. Master, how much longer are you going to hide this from us? That day, you and her were alone in the woods. You even asked the secret guards to stand guard at the door and not let anyone in. Wasn't that exactly what you and her were doing in there? Chen Tian had a pained expression on his face, as if he was a parent trying to persuade a child who had gone astray. Oh, Chen Yuqing laughed icily. I was doing something shameful with her. Why didn't I know about it? Chen Tian, you disappoint me. He paused for a moment, then continued. Furthermore, I had hoped that she would seduce me. Unfortunately, she is already married and has a child. I'm afraid that my wish is destined to fail. What? Chen Tian's eyes widened in shock. She's already married and has a child? Why did Tang Yu say that her son was born with an illegitimate man? Tang Yu, how many times had she lied to him? Impossible. Tang Yu shook her head firmly. Yin Luofeng is not married. Her child is clearly a bastard. Chen Yuqing glanced at Tang Yu calmly. This glance made Tang Yu feel as if her body had been pierced through. The pain was unbearable. Are you saying that I'm lying? His voice was no longer as gentle as it used to be. Instead, it was filled with coldness. Tang Yu bit her lip and did not make a sound. She glared angrily at Yin Luofeng. If looks could kill, Yin Luofeng would have died 1,000,000 times over. Tang Yu! Chen Tian angrily turned around and slapped Tang Yu across the face. You dare to lie to me? Tang Yu clenched her red and swollen cheek. The viciousness in her eyes deepened. It was as if she would be poisoned to death if she looked at her. Master, I really didn't know that she was already married and had a child. Furthermore, I saw you in the woods with my own eyes, so... Chen Tian deliberately emphasized the words woods as if he wanted Chen Yuqing to give him an explanation. You want to know? Chen Yuqing's gaze was indifferent. Fine. I can tell you that I invited Yin Luofeng to treat my illness. I allowed her to come to the Chun family home. Chen Tian was stunned. He said in a daze, Master, are you saying that he is the doctor you invited to treat your illness? How is that possible? How good can this little girl's medical skills be? That's right. Her medical skills really aren't that great. At most, Tianya can only take her as his master. Chen Yuqing's lips curled up in irony. Didn't you say that her medical skills weren't good? Since her medical skills were not great, would Tianya still shamelessly want to take her as his master? Chun Tian was completely stunned. He knew that the patriarch would never lie. Everything he said was the truth. In other words, the little girl before him was Tian Ye's master. This was the first time Yin Luofeng felt that Tian Ye's reputation was so resounding that even the Chun family of Yellow Spring City was shocked by his name. Why? Tang Yu's body began to tremble, and her eyes were filled with fear. Why didn't cousin tell me about this? What he told me was clearly that it was Yin Luofeng who seduced Tianya, and that's why Tianya helped her destroy the Tian family. Pucci. Lin Ruobai couldn't help but laugh out loud. My master already told you to be careful and not be used by others. In the end, you're still speaking up for Tianyu. TSK. It's really not worth it. We're the brains of the people from the Sky Martial Court made of. How could you be so stupid? Chapter 601. Tang Yu's body trembled even more. She just gotten up from the ground when she suddenly staggered and fell to the ground. How's the favor I asked you to do? Yin Luofeng turned to look at Chun Yuqing and asked. Indeed, as you said, Tang Tianyu has been observing the situation outside. When he saw that the situation was not good, he wanted to leave. Now, I've already let the dark guards capture him. Chun Yuqing calmly shouted, Men, bring Tang Tianyu here. Bang! In an instant, a secret guard lifted Tang Tianyu and threw him to the ground. Then, he walked to Chun Yuqing's side. The last fish of the Tian family that escaped the net has now been caught. Yun Luofeng narrowed his eyes and said with a smile that didn't look like a smile, Now, I will send your family to reunite. Tang Tianyu stared hatefully at Yun Luofeng. Yin Luofeng, you are guilty of many crimes. You will definitely be struck by lightning and die a horrible death. Too many people have said this to me. You're not the only one. Yun Luofeng curled the corners of his lips. If you'd found a place to hide, I might not have been able to find you. But now, you've delivered yourself to me. She slowly walked towards Tang Tianyu and pressed on him. You said that I forced a good girl to be a prostitute and spread malicious rumors to slander me? I'm just stating the truth. At this time, Tang Tianyu still said stubbornly. Yin Luofeng was so angry that he laughed. Previously, your Tian clan despised Zhong Linger's talent and chased her out of the Tian clan. Now, I've raised her up, but the Tian clan came out to snatch her from me. In the end, it became me forcing a good girl into prostitution. Tang Tianyu's expression changed slightly, and his face became paler. It's fine if you take her away, but you actually tortured her until she's half dead. If I didn't arrive in time, I'm afraid she would have lost her life to the Tian family. Then tell me, should the Tian family be destroyed? I won't admit your words. The one who's wrong is obviously you. The Tian family isn't wrong. Is that so? Yin Luofeng laughed lightly. Then do you dare swear? Tang Tianyu looked at Yin Luofeng like he was looking at an idiot. Could it be that this woman believes in the existence of divine retribution? If oaths were really effective, there wouldn't be so many lies in this world. Thinking of this, Tang Tianyu calmed his mind and said, I, Tang Tianyu, swear once again that everything I said is true. If there is any falsehood, may I be struck by lightning. Boom! At that moment, heaven and earth lost their color. Lightning flashed and thunder roared. A bolt of lightning struck down. If Tang Tianyu had not reacted in time and dodged quickly, he would have been split in half by this bolt of lightning. Tang Tianyu was stunned, his whole body trembling. Impossible. Does the heavenly Tao really exist in this world? This was impossible. This is just a coincidence. I swear that if there is any falsehood in my words, I will be burned to ashes. Just as he finished speaking, a dark green flame suddenly appeared under Tang Tianyu's body. It instantly rushed up and enveloped his body. A mournful cry rang out from within the dark green flames. His face contorted in pain, and his voice was hoarse and heart-wrenching. Karma is the cycle of the heavenly Tao. This is the price you have to pay for looking down on the heavenly Tao. The young girl's voice heavily struck everyone's heart. Everyone looked at Tang Tianyu with an expression full of contempt. Tang Tianyu's hoarse voice was mournful and even had a pleading tone. I was wrong. I shouldn't have looked down on the heavenly Tao. I shouldn't have lied. I admit that I was lying. Please forgive me. Chapter 602. Perhaps Tang Tianyu's words were effective. The flames that had surrounded them gradually dissipated and soon disappeared. After this incident, everyone present no longer dared to swear, as they were afraid that they would be punished by the heavens. Tang Tianyu fell to the ground and panted. Yin Luofeng, even if this is the Tian family's fault, you shouldn't have destroyed the entire Tian family. What difference is there between you and the devil? I only kill those who deserve to be killed. Yin Luofeng paused. Everyone in the Tian family deserves to die. Only by cutting the weeds and removing the roots could one avoid future troubles. That was why she had destroyed the entire Tian family. Tang Tianyu still wanted to defend himself, but at this moment, a figure quickly rushed over and pressed him under the body of a person. Soft little fists landed on Tang Tianyu's body. Instantly, Tang Tianyu's chest surged with anger, and he hurriedly grabbed Tang Yu's arm. Are you crazy? I'm not. I only want to kill you. You be Astra-starred. Tang Yu's voice trembled. Why did you lie to the Sky Marshal Court? If it wasn't for you, Grandfather would not have been crippled, and the Sky Marshal Court would not have suffered such a mishap. It's all your fault. Slap. Tang Tianyu slapped Tang Yu's body, and she fell to the ground. His expression was cold as he said in a cold voice, You shut up. A bunch of useless things who can't even deal with a woman. If I had known that you were so useless, I would not have come to Netherworld City. Tang Yu looked at Tang Tianyu in disbelief. You hit me? I hit you. What do you do about it? Do you still think that you're the high and mighty lady of the Sky Marshal Court? I've had enough of you. If it wasn't for your powerful grandfather, who do you think would listen to your temper? Tang Yu bit her lip. She could not believe that her brother, whom she had once treated with sincerity, had become so distant, especially since he had told so many lies to the Sky Marshal Court. Seeing that Tang Tianyu and Tang Yu had gotten into an argument, the smile in Yun Luofeng's eyes deepened. Although I really want to see this good show of dogs biting each other, it's a pity that it's getting late. Moron Bay, I've already crippled Tang Ran. I'll leave these people from the Sky Marshal Pavilion to you. Leave none alive. Yes, gang leader. Moron Bay cupped his fists respectfully while his eyes shone brightly. Only the heavens knew how long he had waited for this day. Now he could finally hold his head high. How could he not be excited? Little White, let's go home. Yin Luofeng turned and walked out of the square. Seeing the young girl walking towards them, everyone in the square scattered to the sides, subconsciously opening a path for her. Master, is there really a heavenly Tao in this world? Lin Ruobai blinked and looked curiously at Yin Luofeng. Yin Luofeng smirked. Of course it's fake. Fake? How is that possible? Lin Ruobai shouted in surprise. Although she had recognized that the flames were from Yin Luofeng's soul, how could she explain the lightning? Xiaobai, don't ever believe what you see with your own eyes. Yin Luofeng stopped in his tracks and looked at Lin Ruobai. He spoke in a serious tone. That was just an illusion that I created using a special method. Even if that lightning struck his body, he wouldn't feel anything. It's just that with Tang Tianyu's timid personality, he would definitely dodge. Chapter 603. Lin Ruobai's eyes shone as he stared at Yin Luofeng in admiration. His master had actually created a scene of lightning and thunder. How many people in this world could achieve this level of power? Of course, Lin Ruobai did not know that Yin Luofeng had used the divine grimoire space to create this scene of lightning and thunder. Without the divine grimoire space, she would never have such power. Let's go. Yin Luofeng saw the look on Lin Ruobai's face, but did not explain anything. She stretched lazily and walked towards the Big Dipper gang. She must find a soul seed as soon as possible. That way, she would be able to leave this place and reunite with Yin Xiao. Chen Yuqing stared in the direction that Yin Luofeng had left in. After a long pause, she turned around and calmly looked at Chen Tian. Her handsome face was cold and distant. Chen Tian, do you know the consequences of your actions? Chen Tian fell to his knees and said with a bitter smile, Patriarch, I was deceived by Tang Yu. That's why, Chen Tian, I hate it when people try to shirk their responsibilities. No matter what Tang Yu says, it's her business and it has nothing to do with you. Yet, you believe everything she says. How can someone as brainless as you be fit to be the Chun family's doctor? Chun Yuqing's words were heavy and her meaning was clear. Her eyes no longer held their usual warmth. Instead, they were filled with indifference and heartlessness. Chun Yuqing may have been easy to talk to, but when it comes to this kind of situation, she would not listen. No one could do anything about it. Master, I understand. Chun Tian lowered his head. According to the Chun family's rules, those who have made a mistake only have two choices. The first is to leave the Chun family. The second is to commit suicide in front of you. Just like Mei Qin, I choose the second option. He knows that once he is chased out of the Chun family, he would become the enemy of the masses. Even with his medical skills, he would not be able to change this fact. Besides, he does not want to work for any other family aside from the Chun family in this lifetime. Chun Tian raised his hand and slammed it against the top of his head. With a bang, his brain burst out and his body slumped to the ground. Bury him. Chun Yuqing withdrew her gaze and calmly turned around. With her back facing Chun Tian's corpse, her eyes were filled with sorrow. It seems like my discipline of the family isn't very useful. So many people don't listen to my orders. Patriarch, this has nothing to do with you. You don't have to blame yourself. The secret guard saw Chun Yuqing's slightly gloomy expression and hurriedly said, You don't have to say anything else. Once my body recovers, I will go into seclusion. I won't see anyone. He raised a brow, thought to himself, and added another sentence. If Yin Luofeng comes, he's an exception. The corner of the secret guard's mouth twitched slightly, but he didn't dare to show it on his face. He lowered his head and said respectfully, Yes, sir. You stay here and help the Big Dipper gang eliminate the remnants of the Sky Marshal Pavilion. Don't let a single one of them go. After saying this, Chun Yuqing strode out of the plaza and disappeared from everyone's sight in a moment. The Chun family, under a cherry blossom tree. A man's robes were half dragged down and his shoulders were bare. The sunlight shone down on his skin, making it glow faintly. At this moment, the man's shoulders were covered in silver needles, revealing half of his shoulders. You're leaving? The man slowly asked after a moment's thought. Chapter 604. I'm going to Othershore Mountain to find a medicinal herb called Soul Guidance. Once I found it, I'll return to Yellow Spring City. The man paused, then said gently, All right, I'll wait for you at the Qin residence. Yin Luofeng looked at the man in front of her. Thank you for today. Whether it was saying that he was already married and had a child, or what he said next, he was proving her innocence. Even if he didn't need anyone to prove his innocence, she was still grateful for the man's actions. You don't have to thank me, the man chuckled. If it weren't for you, I might have lost my life. So, the person who should be thanking you is me. Don't worry. While you're gone, I'll support the Big Dipper gang for you. I'll also hand over the throne of Yellow Spring City's #1. Yun Luofeng fell silent. After a long while, she said slowly, It's about time. I'll pull out the silver needles for you now. Next, you need to take the medicine I gave you. Only then will it be able to completely remove the poison in your body. All right. The man smiled. His smile was very beautiful, like a flash of youth. Yun Luofeng didn't bid farewell to the man. After putting away the silver needles, she turned and walked out of the forest. Thus, she didn't notice a pair of eyes staring at her. Until she disappeared. Outside the door, Lin Ruobai was already pacing back and forth anxiously. She saw Yin Luofeng walking out with a glance and quickly followed her. Master, should we go to Othershore Mountain now? Yin Luofeng nodded lightly. Let's go. Yes, master. Lin Ruobai was elated because she felt that after following her master for so long, she could finally be of some use. Othershore Mountain wasn't far from Yellow Spring City, but only the top 10 forces could go there. If the members of the other powers were to head to the Othershore Mountain and were discovered, they would be hunted down by the top 10 powers. That was why the forces in Yellow Spring City were so desperate for a higher ranking. Yun Luofeng walked to the foot of Othershore Mountain and turned to look at Lin Ruobai beside her, asking, Do you feel anything? Lin Ruobai nodded. I feel a force pulling me forward. If I'm not wrong, it's a soul guide. Kenya was right. Only Lin Ruabai could find a soul seed. Follow your instincts. We'll find herbs soon. Yin Luofeng's lips curled up. He was curious as to what kind of herb this soul seed was. Yes, master. Lin Ruabai was a little excited. The deeper they went, the stronger she felt the soul seed. Aside from the abundance of medicinal herbs, the other shore mountain also had powerful spiritual beasts. Of course, with Yun Luofeng's current strength, those spiritual beasts were nothing to her. Thus, they entered the depths of Other Shore Mountain without a hitch. Strange. Just as they reached a cliff, Lin Ruabai could not help but stop in her tracks. She furrowed her adorable brows and her eyes were filled with deep thought. I clearly feel that the soul seed is here, but why can't I see it? Suddenly, the cliff began to shake violently. The stone beneath Lin Ruabai's feet suddenly cracked, and her entire body fell towards the ground. She couldn't help but let out a scream. Ah, be careful. Suddenly, a hand reached out from above and grabbed her tightly, wanting to pull her up. But at this moment, the mountain rock under Yun Luofeng's feet also cracked, and the two of them both fell down. Chapter 605. The moment they fell, Yin Luofeng instinctively tried to fly through the air. However, there seemed to be a deep suction force beneath the cliff, causing her to be unable to fly. Bang! The two of them finally landed. Yin Luofeng hugged Lin Ruabai tightly and asked, "How are you?" "I'm fine." Lin Ruabai shook her head. "Master, I've dragged you down." "No, this has nothing to do with you. Even without you, I would still have fallen. Moreover, I have a feeling that perhaps this is just fate." Hearing Yin Luofeng's words, Lin Ruabai felt even more guilty. She gazed at Yin Luofeng with tears in her eyes. "Master, I feel so useless. I can't help at all." Yin Luofeng smiled and patted Lin Ruabai's shoulder. "If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have been able to find this soul seed. So, if you want to help me find the soul seed as soon as possible so that I can leave this place." "Yes, master." Lin Ruabai closed her eyes and sensed for a moment. After a while, she opened her eyes and looked at the cave in front of her. "Master, I can feel it. The soul seed is just ahead. I've said it before. Coming to this place is fated. You don't need to blame yourself." Yun Luofeng's gaze looked towards the pitch-black cave. "Let's go. We'll go take a look now and see what else is in the cave other than the soul guide." "All right." Lin Ruabai nodded, her eyes filled with determination. No matter what, she had to help her master find the soul seed. It was pitch black inside the cave. She couldn't even see her fingers in front of her. Yun Luofeng ignited the soul fire in his palm. The dark green flame illuminated the entire cave, making it seem strange and eerie. Lin Ruabai grabbed Yin Luofeng's sleeve fearfully. However, she also felt that this was too embarrassing. Thus, she put down her arm and stared nervously in front of her. "If you're afraid, hold on to me." Yin Luofeng seemed to sense the fear in Lin Ruabai's heart and said with a smile, "Master, I'm not afraid." Lin Ruabai shook her head stubbornly. She was no longer the little girl who was protected in her father's arms. She was someone who needed her master's help. Hence, how could she be so cowardly? Lin Ruabai clenched her fists tightly. No matter how scared she was, her eyes were filled with determination. The entire cave was very quiet. Only the echoes of their footsteps could be heard. Suddenly, Yin Luofeng stopped in his tracks and stared deeply at a vermilion fruit placed on the altar in front of him. He said, "If I'm not wrong, this should be a soul seed." However, the journey had been too smooth. Apart from encountering a few spirit beasts in the beginning, they didn't encounter any danger afterward. This was especially true when they didn't encounter any traps or powerful spirit beasts when they found the soul seed. Let's not worry about that for now. The most important thing right now is to obtain the soul seed and leave this place. Yin Luofeng did not think too much and slowly walked towards the soul seed. These few steps felt as if she had walked dozens of meters. His entire body was tense. If she felt that something was wrong, she would immediately give up on the soul seed and leave. But there was none. Nothing happened until she held the soul seed in her hand. Yun Luofeng was even more confused. Logically speaking, a herb like the soul seed should have a life-bound beast. Why didn't anything happen to me? Master, look over there. Lin Raobai suddenly pointed at a pile of bones in the corner and cried out in surprise. Chapter 606. The pile of bones was a few meters long and had 2 horns on its head. Its sharp teeth were slightly black, and it was piled up in a corner. From its appearance, it didn't seem like it belonged to a human. If Yun Luofeng's guess was right, the dragon-like creature was the life-bound beast of the soul seed. A soul dragon. Little Mo's voice came from within Yun Luofeng's soul, his voice trembling. That corpse belongs to the soul dragon. It seems to have been slaughtered. The soul dragon was extremely powerful, so how strong must the person who killed it be? Also, why didn't they take the soul seed after killing the soul dragon? I don't quite understand. Yun Luofeng shook his head. No matter what, I finally got the soul seed. Little Mo, do you have any way to get me out of here? This place doesn't seem to allow people to fly. I'm not sure why, Little Mo said helplessly. I've been away from this continent for too long. There are many things I don't know. Yun Luofeng fell silent and didn't say anything else. At that moment, Milk Tea suddenly rushed out of his sleeve and rushed towards the pile of bones. Squeak, squeak. Its eyes were like a hungry wolf that had found a delicious meal. It pounced in front of the bones. Milk Tea, come back. Yun Luofeng hurriedly called out. Milk Tea, who was previously very obedient, did not listen to her orders at this moment. Her small body quickly burrowed into the pile of bones. In a short while, she found a black bead among the bones. Gulp. Milk Tea was afraid that someone would steal its master, so it directly swallowed it and let out a satisfied burp. Squeak, squeak. But not long after, it suddenly rolled around on the ground in pain. Its cry was mournful. Yun Luofeng hurried to Milk Tea's side and lifted its small body up. Little Emo, what's going on? There was only silence in Yun Luofeng's soul. Yun Luofeng furrowed his brows. Just as he was about to ask again, Little Mo's childish voice sounded, I finally know why the soul dragon died. Those people weren't after the soul seed, but the pearl. They must have dug out the heart and lungs of the soul dragon, but they still couldn't find the bead, because those people never thought that this bead would be hidden in the soul dragon's bones. It benefited us, no. It should be Milk Tea, that stupid mouse. What is the use of this bead? Yun Luofeng asked in a daze. I've heard of this pearl before. It contains a very powerful force. If Milk Tea could digest this bead, it would become very powerful. But looking at it now, it was obvious that it couldn't digest it by itself. Therefore, I need you to help it, Master. All right, then I'll think of a way to return to Yellow Spring City. No, Master, Milk Tea can't wait any longer. You can only stay here to help it digest this bead. If you delay any longer, it will die. Yun Luofeng didn't think the consequences would be so serious. She raised her hand and slapped Milk Tea's butt. Let's see if you still dare to be so greedy in the future. Gigi. Milk Tea cried out in regret. She didn't expect that she, who always had a good stomach, would have indigestion. He could only look at Yun Luofeng with pleading eyes. Master, is Milk Tea okay? Lin Ruabai asked worriedly. Little White, it seems that we need to stay here for a while. I need to help her digest this bead. Yun Luofeng's expression gradually became serious. Chapter 607. Milk Tea clutched her stomach and rolled around on the ground, moaning in pain. Yun Luofeng did not have time to explain the situation to Lin Ruabai and quickly placed her hand on her stomach. Faint spiritual energy penetrated Milk Tea's small body and entered her organs. Perhaps it was because of this spiritual energy, Milk Tea was no longer in pain and her moaning gradually subsided. Time passed by in the cave. In the blink of an eye, a year had passed. In a corner, Lin Ruabai, who was sitting cross-legged in cultivation, opened her eyes. She looked at Yun Luofeng, who was still digesting the black bead from Milk Tea, and sighed. It's been a year. What on earth did Milk Tea swallow? Even with Master's help, she still hasn't been able to digest it in a year. However, Milk tea had been breaking through every few months during this year. Lin Ruabai was shocked at first, but over time, she had gotten used to it and was no longer surprised. Who asked her master to be such a pervert? Her little pet must also be a little pervert. Whoosh! Milk tea's body emitted the aura of a breakthrough once again. However, Lin Ruabai could no longer tell what realm she had broken through to. This was because she could sense that milk tea was completely different from a year ago. At this moment, she was giving off an extremely powerful and dangerous aura. Yin Luofeng had naturally improved during this year. While she had been helping milk tea digest the black bead, she had been cultivating as well. However, because she had been distracted, her cultivation speed had not been as fast as before. Even so, she had now broken through to the mid-stage of a heavenly spirit warrior and was on the verge of a breakthrough. She only needed an opportunity to successfully advance to a high-level heavenly spirit warrior. Finally, under Lin Ruabai's watchful gaze, Yin Luofeng opened her eyes and the corners of her lips curled into a devilish smile. "Milk tea, how do you feel now?" Milk tea blinked and replied in her soft and squeaky voice, "Thank you, master." Perhaps it was because she had just learned how to speak, but her words were not very fluent. However, her eyes were filled with gratitude. As if she had been struck by lightning, Lin Ruabai was dumbfounded. She stared at Milk tea in astonishment. "Milk tea, you can speak? When spiritual beasts reach a certain level, they'll be able to speak." Milk tea's voice was cute and soft like cotton. "However, if I didn't have a master, I wouldn't have learned to speak so quickly." Lin Ruabai looked as if she had discovered a new continent. Her face was shining brightly, and her eyes were shining as she stared unblinkingly at the milk tea. "Milk tea, are you male or female?" Milk tea looked at Lin Ruabai with disdain. "Of course I'm a male. Have you ever seen a female asterisk 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 asterisk? Asterisk 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 asterisk. Where is it? Let me have a look." Lin Ruabai pulled milk tea over, pressed it to the ground, and poked its white and tender belly with his finger. "Where? Why can't I find it?" Milk tea squeaked. It raised its paw and slapped away Lin Ruabai's hand, then burrowed into the ground in embarrassment. With milk tea's strength, her drilling speed was much faster than before. Soon, she drilled a big hole and hid her whole body inside. "This little guy still dares to escape." Lin Ruabai rolled up her sleeves and was about to enter the cave when Yin Luofeng suddenly reached out and grabbed her. "Wait, master." Lin Ruabai turned around in confusion and asked, "What's wrong?" Chapter 608. Yin Luofeng did not speak and quietly listened to her surroundings. After a long while, she instructed, "Milk tea, dig a little bigger." "Okay." Milk tea emerged from the hole and continued to dig. Not long after, a long hole appeared in front of Yin Luofeng. Lin Ruabai was stunned when she saw the scene inside the hole. "There's a path underground? Xiaobai, let's go in and take a look. Perhaps we can find a way out." As soon as he finished speaking, Yin Luofeng leaped up and vanished from the cave. Lin Ruabai did not hesitate and hurriedly followed Yin Luofeng into the deep hole. The moment she entered the ground, her entire body froze. This was an underground palace. It was dazzling and brightly lit. It cannot be compared to the simple and shabby cave. This place must have been built by a powerful cultivator. "Xiaobai, we can't stay here. Let's leave immediately." Lin Ruabai did not move. She stared blankly at a mural hanging on the wall in front of her. Her eyes were glued to it. "Xiaobai." Yin Luofeng frowned and followed Lin Ruabai's gaze. Instantly, the image of a devastatingly beautiful man on the mural was reflected in her eyes. This man could be described as an evildoer. How beautiful was he? Even the words "unparalleled in his generation" and capable of captivating all living things were insufficient to describe him. He was sitting on a dark golden dragon throne with his right hand supporting his face. Even though his expression looked calm, his demeanor was arrogant and domineering. He was dressed in a bright red robe that revealed his delicate collarbones. The corners of his lips were tilted upwards and curled into an arrogant smile. "Xiaobai, who is he?" Yin Luofeng gently stroked her chin and looked at the beautiful man with admiration. Dr. Zhu Qian. The Dr. Zhu Qian was a legend from 1,000 years ago. However, when she heard this name, Yin Luofeng could not help but think of the book that had been sold at the auction. This is the resting place of the Dr. Zhu Qian? Yin Luofeng narrowed her eyes. No, this should be a temporary palace that he had built. It's not his resting place. Master, look, there's a book in that corner. Lin Ruobai pointed at the corner in front of him and exclaimed. Yin Luofeng's gaze gradually swept towards the corner in front of him. He slowly walked forward and carefully picked up the book on the ground. This book had clearly been around for a long time. There was a thick layer of dust on it. Yin Luofeng gently patted away the dust and immediately saw the words on the book. It belongs to the fated. Yin Luofeng slowly flipped open the book in his hands. The first page had a few lines of somewhat blurry handwriting. Fortunately, even though the words were somewhat blurry, they could still be seen clearly. Everyone knows that I, Zhu Qian, am the god of medicine. Actually, medical skills are not my true interest. Therefore, I did not study medicine. What interested me was the creation of life. Create life? Yin Luofeng was startled. Could it be that life could also be created through human means? When he thought of this, Yin Luofeng continued to flip the pages. I've always wondered how humans came to be. I believe that humans can use some methods to create them. Therefore, I use my entire life to study the origins of humans. Unfortunately, after countless studies, I could only create some lifeless things. I call these things puppets. Chapter 609. These puppets only have the appearance of humans, but have no thoughts of their own. They can only obey orders unconditionally, just like walking corpses. However, I never expected that the things that I had researched would be leaked out, causing me to be hunted down by countless powerful cultivators. Those laughable fellows actually used high-sounding reasons to cheat me of my finished products. They even claimed that I would use these puppets to commit evil and that they were acting on behalf of the heavens. Acting on behalf of the heavens? Ha ha ha. Could it be that they don't know that I, Zhu Qian, have never been afraid of even the heavens? If the heavens want me dead, so what if I go against the heavens? I've never believed in the heavenly axiom. I only know that those who obey me will prosper, and those who oppose me will die. Hence, I killed those laughable things. Because of this, I've suffered the joint pursuit of all the powerful cultivators on the mainland. They must eradicate a scourge like me. Those old fellows' pursuit of me has annoyed me to no end. Hence, I've come to this place and written down the method of making puppets in hopes that the fated person will obtain it. I also hope that the fated person can help me complete my unfulfilled wish. Next, I'm going to find those exuberant old fellows and have a fight to the death. I'm even prepared to perish together with them. If I fail, my soul will fall into their hands. My soul will fall into their hands, and they can use some methods to obtain my memories. Hence, before I leave, I'll seal my memories. I'll make sure that they'll never be able to obtain the method of making puppets. Lin Ruobai had also read the contents of the book and came to a sudden realization. According to historical records, the divine Dr. Zhu Qian had suddenly disappeared from the mainland 1,000 years ago. It turned out that he had actually been hunted down because of his treasures. However, these matters were not recorded in the historical records. That's right. How could the powerful cultivators who were in charge of the mainland allow their evil deeds to be made public? Hence, they had erased this part of the content so that no one knew of Zhu Qian's whereabouts. It seems that Zhu Qian must have met with a mishap back then. Master, I'm not interested in this puppet, and I can't fulfill the divine doctor's wish. Lin Ruobai blinked and said with a grin, So, I'll leave this book in your care. However, you must hide it well and not let anyone find it. Otherwise, you'll definitely be hunted down like Zhu Qian. Everyone in the world knew that Zhu Qian's medical skills were brilliant, and he was even given the title of Dr. God. Who would have thought that this man did not concentrate on studying medical skills, but chose to create life? Let's go. Yin Luofeng put away the medical book and looked back at the painting on the wall. The man in the painting still had an arrogant expression on his face. His lips curled into an arrogant smile. His body leaned against the back of the dragon throne, his palms gently supporting his face. At this moment, she finally understood why the man in the painting was so arrogant. All of his expressions were directed at the expert who had hunted him down in the past. One had to admit that Yun Luofeng's trip to Othershore Mountain this time was extremely fruitful. Not only did she successfully obtain the soul seed, but Milk Tea's strength had also increased a lot. Most importantly, she had picked up the book that Zhu Qian had left behind. Life Creation? Could life in this world really be created through special means? Yun Luofeng narrowed her eyes, which were filled with a strong light of interest. At this moment, she was already very interested in the creation of life. Chapter 610. Outside the palace was the Othershore Mountain. Yun Luofeng never expected that they would leave in this manner. After leaving the palace, she gently raised her brows and said, "It's getting late, and we've been delayed for a year. Let's return to Netherworld City first before leaving this place." In the Chun family's cherry blossom forest, the melodious sound of a guqin could be heard like flowing water. At this moment, a man was playing the guqin wholeheartedly and did not notice the sudden appearance of a white robe. Yun Luofeng stared silently at the man in front of him. Even though his hair was still snow white, his complexion was much better and his handsome face had a tinge of color. Clang! As if sensing something, the man stopped playing the guqin and raised his head. When he saw Yun Luofeng in front of him, he was stunned. Then, his eyes filled with excitement. You're back." This young girl had been gone for a year. In this 1 year, he had sent countless experts from the Chun family to search for her whereabouts, but they had never found her. Initially, he had thought that she had met with misfortune and was about to inform Tianya of everything that had happened. He never thought that she would return at this time. "I was caught up in some matters, so I came back late. I'll be leaving this place soon, so I dropped by to see how you're recovering. You seem to be doing well." Chun Yuqing smiled gently as he stared at the young girl's beautiful face. However, his voice was filled with sadness. "I don't know when we'll meet again after you leave this time. We'll meet if we're fated." "We'll meet if we're fated?" Chun Yuqing's eyes flickered. Suddenly, he smiled gently. "That's right. We'll meet if we're fated. I believe that we'll meet again in the future. I'm leaving. Take care." Yun Luofeng turned to look at Chun Yuqing before he turned around and walked out of the Chun family's main gate. At this moment, she could feel someone's gaze fixed on her from behind. It made her feel as if her back weighed 1,000 pounds. Master, Lin Ruobai had been waiting for Yun Luofeng at the door. When he saw her appear, his eyes lit up and he hurried over to greet her. "Are we going home now?" Yun Luofeng shook his head. "No, let's go to the Big Dipper gang first. Once we're done with the gang, we'll leave this place." Perhaps it was because Yun Luofeng's whereabouts had been unknown for a year. The Big Dipper gang members were rather dispirited. They no longer had the intention to fight for territory with others. At this moment, at the entrance of the Big Dipper gang, a sharp-eyed gang member caught sight of Yun Luofeng walking over. His eyes immediately lit up. Gang leader? Gang leader is back." He hurriedly ran into the Big Dipper gang, shouting as he ran. "The sect leader is back. Quickly inform the vice sect leader. Gang leader is back. Gang leader is back." For a time, the Big Dipper gang was in chaos. Everyone spread the news, and soon, everyone in the Big Dipper gang knew that their gang leader had returned. In the beginning, the members of the Big Dipper gang had not been willing to submit to Yun Luofeng. However, ever since Yun Luofeng had led them to destroy the Sky Martial Pavilion, they had long since been convinced by her. Her reputation in the Big Dipper gang had long since surpassed Murong Bei, who had established his own gang. Chapter 611. Murong Bei hurriedly rushed over when he heard the news. He saw Yun Luofeng, who was standing in the courtyard, and opened his mouth. His dry throat was unable to make a sound. After a long pause, he calmed his emotions and smiled. "Sect Master, you're back?" Yun Luofeng nodded gently. "Murong Bei, come with me. I have something to tell you before I leave." "Yes, Sect Master." Murong Bei's expression was respectful. Why don't we talk in my cultivation room, sect master? Yin Luofeng did not reply and walked towards Murong Bei's cultivation room. Murong Bei's cultivation room was very simple. There was only a mat on the ground. His sharp eyes noticed that Yin Luofeng was frowning slightly and immediately brought a chair over from somewhere else. He then spoke in a flattering manner. Sect master, please have a seat. Yin Luofeng straightened her white robes and sat down in a domineering manner. She gently propped her head up with her hand as her evil eyes swept towards the man who was standing before her. Murong Bei, if I were to give you the chance to stand at the top, would you have the confidence? The young girl's face lit up with a smile as her pitch-black eyes stared quietly at Murong Bei. Murong Bei's eyes lit up when he heard this, and his breathing quickened. Sect master, if such an opportunity presents itself, I will definitely grasp it. All right, remember what you've said recently. Yin Luofeng gently raised her brows. Once you've climbed to the top of the Yellow Springs, you can look for me in General Yun's mansion in Long Yuan country. Before you reach that position, I will never see you. Murong Bei's gaze gradually became determined. He knew that this was Yin Luofeng's test for him. Only by climbing to the top of the Yellow Springs could he pass her test. Don't worry, sect master, I won't let you down. I hope so. Yin Luofeng gently raised her brows and curled her lips into a lazy angle. Once you've climbed to the top of the Yellow Springs, you'll have the right to become my subordinate. I'll be waiting for you in Long Yuan country. Murong Bei's guess was right. This was indeed a test for him. Times had changed. Back then, she had accepted the Steel Flame Army because she had no other choice. Now, unless the other party had the ability that was worthy of her wholeheartedly nurturing, she would not take out the treasures in the divine grimoire space. Even though Murong Bei had already given his heart to her, she still wanted to test whether this man was worth it or not. Climbing to the #1 position in the Yellow Springs was her test for her. I've finished speaking. Murong Bei, whether or not you can grasp this opportunity is entirely up to you. Yin Luofeng rose from his chair as the corners of his lips curled into an arrogant yet confident smile. Furthermore, believe me, if you miss this opportunity, you won't have another one like this again. Murong Bei's heart sank bit by bit. He understood that Yin Luofeng was speaking the truth. This was indeed a golden opportunity. Sect leader. Suddenly, he raised his head and stared at the young girl's devilish eyes. He said in a serious tone, "Give me 3 years. After 3 years, I will go to Long Yuan Nation to look for you." Yin Luofeng's lips curved into a faint smile. Without saying anything more, she walked towards the door. The moment she reached the door, the young girl paused in her steps and raised her hand. With her back facing Murong Bei, she waved goodbye and disappeared under the dazzling sunlight without looking back. Murong Bei's heart grew even more determined as he stared in the direction where the young girl had left. He also understood that this was his only chance. He must grasp it firmly in his hands. Chapter 612. The Medicine City. The restaurant was luxurious. In a corner by the window, a young girl tilted her head slightly. Her hand gently propped up her chin, and her gaze was fixed outside the window. In front of this young girl sat a little girl who was about the same age as her. However, this little girl only cared about stuffing food into her mouth. Not long after, her cheeks were bulging and her mouth was full of food scraps. I heard that the doctor's conference that was originally planned to be held 2 years later has been brought forward to 2 months later. A sigh rang out from the main hall of the restaurant. Actually, this doctor's conference is an occasion for doctors to compete for treasures. Their medical skills are secondary. But do you know why the doctors' conference has been brought forward? I'm not sure about that. I heard that our governor has already rushed to the Doctors' Association. The crowd discussion finally caused the young girl to react. She picked up the sword on the table, stood up, and said, "The people of the Medicine City will not be in the Medicine City for now. There's no point in us staying here. Xiaobai, let's set off and head to the Doctors' Association." Huh. Lin Ruabai raised his head in a daze and said pitifully, "But I haven't finished eating yet." As soon as he finished speaking, Yin Luofeng grabbed Lin Ruabai's arm and walked out of the restaurant. "It's getting late. We need to leave early. Also, before we leave, we need to give the Medicine City some gifts. The City Lord's mansion was majestic and heavily guarded. Just as Yun Luofeng neared the City Lord's mansion, he was blocked by 2 guards. Stop. This is the governor's mansion. Unauthorized personnel are not allowed to enter. Yun Luofeng raised the corners of her lips. Her smile was sinister and cold as it slowly rang out in the gentle breeze. Did I say that I wanted to enter? The guard's expression darkened. Then what are you doing here? Murder and arson. The young girl's red lips parted, and her domineering words reverberated through the gates of the governor's mansion. At this moment, the governor's mansion was already surrounded by many people. They were pointing at Yun Luofeng and Lin Ruobai, and their eyes were filled with sympathy. Perhaps they never thought that someone would dare to disrespect the governor's mansion in the Medicine City. Impudent. The guard's face suddenly turned ashen, and he said sternly, "Kill anyone who dares to cause trouble in the City Lord's mansion." In an instant, countless guards rushed out of the City Lord's mansion and shouted in unison. Bright swords dazzled everyone's eyes. "Xiaobai, move aside." Yin Luofeng narrowed his eyes and shouted coldly. Lin Ruobai obediently walked to the side. She sucked on her fingers and blinked her big eyes at Yin Luofeng. Was Master going to commit arson and murder people? Thinking of this, Lin Ruobai's eyes flashed with excitement, and he grinned, revealing 2 cute canine teeth. Boom! Just as the guards rushed in front of Yin Luofeng, the girl's powerful aura suddenly surged out and attacked them. Her aura was like an invisible sword that instantly pierced through her opponent's body. The young governor of the Medicine City was inferior to others in the past and injured my second uncle. Did you ever think that I would kill my way to your doorstep today? Yun Luofeng gently raised the corners of her lips, and a dangerous aura surged endlessly from her body. However, they are luckier and are not in the Medicine City today. I don't want to come here for nothing. So, I can only kill everyone else in the Medicine City and set the governor's mansion on fire. The girl's eyes were domineering and overbearing. Her white robes fluttered in the gentle breeze. Even the words, peerless beauty, were insufficient to describe the shock she brought to people. Chapter 613. Whoosh! Just as the crowd was in the midst of their shock, a dark green flame erupted from the young girl's body. The flames blossomed like a green lotus next to her. At this moment, she was so beautiful that it made one forget to breathe. Boom! The flames instantly attacked the governor's palace. In an instant, the entire palace was turned into a sea of fire. Once Yin Luofeng was done, she turned around and walked to Lin Ruobai's side. All right, we can leave now. She had come here to settle the score with the Medicine City. Unfortunately, the governor of the Medicine City was not here. However, she did not want to make a wasted trip. Hence, she had set fire to the governor's palace. When the surrounding people understood this point, they could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. This woman really does not want to suffer any losses. She's not even willing to make a wasted trip and wants to recoup some of her costs. The Doctors Association could be considered as the most powerful organization in the Roaring Dragon mainland. This was because the Doctors Association controls countless powerful doctors on the mainland. Moreover, no one was unaware of the influence of the doctors. What? At this moment, in the association, Lin Gu slammed the table and rose to his feet. His handsome features turned ashen as he gritted his teeth. You're saying that Yin Luofeng has gone to the Medicine City and had set fire to the governor's palace while I was away? Reporting to the governor, this is news from the Medicine City. It can't be false. All right. Lin Gu clenched his fist and laughed in anger. Yin Luofeng, how dare you? Such audacity is unforgivable. If it wasn't for the importance of the Doctors Association, I would have made sure that this woman dies without a burial place. However, it doesn't matter. The day I leave the Doctors Association will be the day of that woman's death. Father. Just then, a graceful voice sounded from the doorway. Hearing this familiar voice, Lin Gu gradually calmed the anger in his heart. His face regained a smile as he raised his head. Yu Ting, why are you here? Lin Yuting smiled and slowly walked into the room. I'm only here to take a look. Father, what's going on? Why are you so angry? It's all because of those B***starred from the Yun family. Lin Ji's expression sank once again. That B***TCH Yun Luofeng took advantage of my absence and ran to the Medicine City. He even burned the governor's mansion. How could I not be angry? Lin Yuting's smile was elegant and beautiful, her eyebrows glowing with a moving brilliance. Father, it's just a city lord's mansion. When the time comes, your daughter will help you capture Yin Luofeng and force her to rebuild the city lord's mansion. Wouldn't that be even better? I will definitely ask her to build you a magnificent mansion. Lin Gu shook his head. Daughter, you don't know Yin Luofeng's temper. She would never be so obedient. That woman is even harder to deal with than her second uncle. Father, you're wrong. Lin Yuting sat down next to Lin Gu and said with a chuckle, all the doctors in the world, except for Tianya, have to obey the orders of the Doctors Association. At that time, with my position in the Doctors Association, wouldn't it be very easy to order her to do something? Lin Gu was stunned. Yuting, what do you mean by that? What I mean is, Lin Yuting paused. I want to rope in Yin Luofeng. What? Lin Gu slammed the table and stood up, saying angrily, Yin Xingya caused Hunger to lose all his face back then, and he still hasn't recovered from the blow even after so many years. Yin Luofeng even burned down my city lord's mansion, and now you actually want to rope her in? I definitely won't agree. Chapter 614. Lin Yuting frowned slightly and patiently explained, Father, Yin Luofeng's talent is not bad. I don't want to rope her in. You also know that this Doctors Association is not easy to get along with. Master's bloodline needs to increase the number of experts in order to not fall behind others. Otherwise, if Master and I's positions are occupied by others, would the medical city still have such a glorious time? Lin Gu fell silent. But the Yun family's Yun Qingya. Father, I know you're fighting for your brother. However, I hope that you can temporarily put down your hatred for Yun Qingya and help me. As long as I'm doing well, the medical city will be able to stand tall. Lin Gu sighed lightly. He knew that what Lin Yuting said was the truth. The reason why the medical city could have such a glorious appearance was all because of his adopted daughter. If she lost her position, the medical city would also fall in an instant. Although I agree with your words, I still need to remind you that Yin Luofeng's medical skills are indeed very strong. If she takes away your position in the Doctors Association, then you can rest assured about this. As long as I rope her in, I have a way to make her loyal to me for the rest of her life. Lin Yuting laughed, her words filled with confidence. Sigh. Lin Gu laughed bitterly and said helplessly, Since you've already made such a decision, what else can I do? I will listen to you and forcefully eliminate the anger in my heart, but I will never be able to let go of this grudge. In addition, I heard that Yin Luofeng and Tianya joined hands to destroy the Tian family. Do you think they are related? Lin Yuting's face revealed an elegant smile. Father, you probably don't know, right? There is enmity between the Tian family and Tianya. I've heard about this from the president before, but I don't know much about the specific situation. It seems that the Tian family forced Tianya to marry another woman, causing him to be separated from his beloved. Thus, Tianya hates the Tian family. At this point, Lin Yuting paused for a moment. So, this is just a coincidence. The Tian family provoked Yin Luofeng. At the same time, they also provoked Tianya, and they coincidentally went up the heavenly mountain together. If Yin Luofeng was really related to Tianya, then our medical city would have long since ceased to exist. Lin Gu nodded and agreed. What you said makes sense. Now, I still have one last question. If Yin Luofeng doesn't accept your roping in, then what should we do? Lin Yuting smiled mysteriously and said confidently, She will agree. Suddenly, a disciple of the association hurriedly walked in from outside the door. He cupped his fists and said to Lin Yuting, Senior Sister Yuting, Elder Luo Fu wants you to go. Master is looking for me? Lin Yuting frowned slightly. Okay, I got it. Tell Master that I'll go see him later. Yes. The disciple cupped his fists and left. After the disciple left, Lin Yuting continued. Father, remember what I said just now? Yin Luofeng's talent is not bad. She will be very useful to me. After saying that, Lin Yiting didn't ask if Lin Gu had listened to her words. She glanced at him with her beautiful eyes and turned to walk out the door. Staring in the direction of the woman's departure, Lin Ji's face darkened bit by bit. He clenched his fists tightly, and the sound of his bones cracking could be heard. As expected, she's not my biological daughter. She clearly doesn't have the same heart as me. I was hoping that she could take revenge for me, but I didn't expect that she would want to rope in Yin Luofeng. If it wasn't for Medical City, I definitely wouldn't have agreed to her. Yin Xingyao had caused his son to lose face, and Yin Luofeng had burned down the City Lord mansion. Chapter 615. How could he forget this enmity so easily? If Lin Yiting's words were not very reasonable, how could he be willing to watch his enemy jump around in this world? City Lord, then what should we do next? The guard asked carefully. What else can we do? Yin Luofeng has Elder Ning's help. If I don't have the Doctors Association's help, I won't be able to kill him. So, we can only let the Yin family go for now. However, if I get the chance, I'll make sure these people die without a complete corpse. Lin Gu clenched his fists tightly and gritted his teeth as he spoke. A sinister light flashed across his eyes, and his face was full of malevolence. It was completely different from when he was facing Lin Yiting in the study. The smell of sandalwood wafted into the air. The old man sat on the study table and quietly read a book in his hands. At this moment, the door to the study was pushed open. He raised his head and looked over. In an instant, the yellow-haired woman who had appeared at the door of the study entered his old eyes. The old man smiled. Yiting, you're here? Lin Yiting nodded lightly. Master, why did you call me here? Because the Doctors Association has made a decision. Luo Fu's lips curled into a smile. We will invite the Ghost Emperor to participate in this meeting. Ghost Emperor? Lin Yiting was slightly shocked. You mean the Ghost Emperor who suddenly rose to power in the past few years? He's not a doctor, so why would he participate in this meeting? More importantly, with the Ghost Emperor's cold and murderous personality, why would he agree to this request? Yiting, this is the President's decision. I don't know why the Ghost Emperor is here. As for why the Ghost Emperor agreed, I don't know either. However, I understand that this is a good opportunity. What opportunity? Lin Yiting frowned and asked. Do you know how strong the Ghost Emperor is? Luo Fu glanced at Lin Yiting and asked. Lin Yiting shook her head. I don't know, no. I should say that no one knows what realm this man is at. He's a legend. Luo Fu chuckled and narrowed his eyes with a cunning light. Even though I don't know what realm this Ghost Emperor is at, but I know that President is no match for him. Lin Yiting's body trembled. She raised her head and looked at the old man in shock. Her throat was a little dry. What did you say? Even the guild leader can't beat him? That's right. The President fought with that man 2 months ago and lost. She lost completely. Luo Fu had a complicated look in his eyes. In the eyes of everyone in the Doctors Association, their president, who was revered like a god, had actually lost to a man. Master, you've said so much. What do you want me to do? Lin Yiting didn't understand Luo Fu's thoughts and asked directly. Luo Fu's eyes flickered a few times. This time, I've already asked the president to let you be the judge for the competition. At that time, you would be in a favorable position to enjoy the moonlight first. You might even be able to obtain the Ghost Emperor's love. Hearing Luo Fu's words, Lin Yiting lowered her eyes, and a strange light flashed across her eyes. At this moment, her mind became active. Since the Ghost Emperor was so powerful, if he could obtain this man, wouldn't it be equivalent to obtaining a powerful backer within the Doctors Association who would dare to fight with her? Chapter 616. Yiting, I've already given you the best chance. Don't disappoint your master. Luo Fu saw that Lin Yiting had already made up her mind and said earnestly, Master, I know what to do. Lin Yiting raised her head and looked at Luo Fu seriously. Even if I fail in the end, I still want to try. Love was not something that could be achieved just because you said it would. That was why Lin Yiting did not make such a solemn vow. But no matter what, she had to try. She had to do everything she could to pursue him. Luo Fu laughed. Yu Ting, your personality is still the same. You won't say things that you're not sure of. But your master is very confident in you. I believe that the Ghost Emperor will not give up on a perfect woman like you. Unless the Ghost Emperor was blind, he would not like Lin Yuting. Of course, Luo Fu didn't dare to say this out loud. Otherwise, if the Ghost Emperor heard about it, even if he had taken a liking to Lin Yuting, he would still fly into a rage out of humiliation. Master, I have another matter to talk to you about. Lin Yuting's gaze gradually became serious. I want to recruit Yin Luo Feng on behalf of the Doctors Association. So, I want to ask you to send an invitation to the Yun family and invite Yin Luo Feng to attend the doctor's conference. Oh, Luo Fu's expression was a little surprised. As far as I know, your father has a grudge with the Yun family. Why do you want to recruit Yin Luo Feng? Lin Yuting smiled elegantly. No matter how deep the grudge is, it is not as important as the Doctors Association. For Master, I will let go of my grudge and do my best to recruit Yin Luo Feng. Ha ha ha! Luo Fu laughed heartily. He stood up and patted Lin Yuting's shoulder. You're truly my disciple. It's rare for you to have the temperament to return good for evil. Your master is proud of you. His eyes were full of smiles as he looked at his disciple with satisfaction. If there's nothing else, you can go and rest. I will send someone to send an invitation to the Yun family in a moment. Yes, master. Your disciple will take her leave. Lin Yuting cupped her fists elegantly. After saying this, she turned and left the study, slowly walking towards the courtyard. The Physician Association was divided into various factions, and there were constant conflicts between the elders. However, if they were to face other enemies, they would stand united against them. This was also the reason why the entire Doctors Association stood out to protect the medical city back then. To the Doctors Association, the medical city was one of their own. Even if there was a huge conflict between them, they should not allow them to be harmed by foreign enemies. Otherwise, where would the Doctors Association put its face? At this time, in the elders' courtyard, Lin Yuting had just stepped out of the door when she heard the disdainful voices of the other elders and disciples. I don't know what tricks Lin Yuting used, but the president actually let her take the position of the referee. In the past, the judges were all elders. That's right. She must have heard that the Ghost Emperor was coming to the Doctors Association, so she wanted to get close to him first. How dare he approach the Ghost Emperor? How shameless. Hee, the Ghost Emperor wears a mask all year round. No one has ever seen his face under the mask. Lin Yuting now wants to get close to him for the sake of the Ghost Emperor's strength. If the Ghost Emperor takes off his mask and discovers that he is extremely ugly, who knows if Lin Yuting will be so disgusted that she won't be able to eat? Those people's words seem to be purposely said for Lin Yuting to hear, so they did not restrain themselves because of her appearance. Chapter 617. Lin Yuting furrowed her brows slightly. She swept her cold gaze across the crowd, and a cold light flashed across her eyes. However, she did not say a word and continued walking forward. As a result, the crowd's discussions became even louder. Isn't Lin Yuting relying on her talent and Elder Luo Fu's position to be so powerful? That's why she's so lawless. However, she has a brother who likes to stir up trouble at home. I can guarantee that brother of hers will continue to stir up trouble for her. The Ghost Emperor would never marry a woman like her. Otherwise, wouldn't he lose face in a place like the medical city? Lin Yuting remained expressionless and ignored the jealous voices of those people. However, a disciple next to her could not stand it anymore and shouted angrily at the crowd. Who says that the Ghost Emperor would lose face if he marries Senior Sister Yuting? Senior Sister Yuting is so beautiful. Not only is she talented and beautiful, but she's also very talented. She holds a lot of weight in the Doctors Association. It's his fortune to be able to marry Senior Sister Yuting. What does the incident in the medical city have to do with Senior Sister Yuting? Does she have to bear the wrongs of her father and brother? Aren't you just jealous that Senior Sister Yuting can stand by the Ghost Emperor's side? How dare you say that the Ghost Emperor is ugly? Even if the Ghost Emperor is ugly, Senior Sister Yuting is not someone who judges a book by its cover. Lin Yuting did not stop the disciple at first. She waited for him to finish before she pretended to berate him. Why are you arguing with them? I, Lin Yuting, have always been upright and upright. I'm not afraid of their words. There's no point in arguing with them. I might as well take this opportunity to cultivate. The disciple's eyes lit up and he said in admiration, Senior Sister Yuting is not only calm and unafraid of rumors, but you're also very hardworking. If I were the Ghost Emperor, I would definitely marry Senior Sister Yuting. Lin Yuting smiled. I only want to focus on cultivation now. I don't want to talk about romance. Also, even if you're driven mad by these people, you can't say that it's the Ghost Emperor's fortune to marry me. I don't think I'm that outstanding. After all, there are many areas that I need to improve on. She really didn't want to talk about romance. She just wanted to be the Ghost Emperor's wife. The reason why she said those words was because she knew that the Ghost Emperor had eyes and ears all over the world. Perhaps her words would reach his ears. If you want a man to fall in love with a woman, you must let that man start from admiration. If the Ghost Emperor admired her, then she wouldn't be too far from that step. I'm going to cultivate now. No matter what these people say, just let them say whatever they want. There's no need to defend yourself. She had an elegant smile on her face, and her calm demeanor made some of the surrounding women gnash their teeth in hatred. Unfortunately, they understood that their talents were inferior to Lin Yuting's, so they could only watch as she approached the Ghost Emperor. A huge mountain towered into the clouds. On this huge mountain, there was a flourishing city. The Doctors' Association, which was revered as a god by the people, was located in the very center of this city. At this moment, Yin Luofeng stopped in his tracks at the entrance of the Doctors' Association. He gently stroked his chin as he raised his head to look at the imposing entrance. The corners of his lips curled into an evil smile. This is the Doctors' Association. Xiaobai, we're here. Stop. Just as she was about to step in, someone suddenly blocked her way and asked coldly, Your invitation? Chapter 6:18. Invitation? Yin Luofeng was startled. He turned around and looked at Lin Ruobai. You need an invitation to attend the doctor's conference? Why didn't Tianya tell her about this? In fact, Tianya didn't expect the doctor's conference to be held in advance. He thought that he could wait until Yin Luofeng returned. Thus, he didn't tell her that day. Lin Ruobai shook her head in confusion. I don't know anything. Hearing this, Yin Luofeng frowned. If she had known earlier, she would have gone to the medical pavilion and entered the Doctors' Association with the people there. If you don't have an invitation, leave quickly. The guard outside the medical city said coldly with a cold expression. He had seen many people who wanted to sneak into the Doctors' Association. Without an invitation, no one was allowed to enter. Yin Luofeng? Suddenly, a questioning voice rang out from within the association, attracting Yin Luofeng's attention. It was a noble and elegant woman dressed in a yellow dress. She had a smile on her face, and her bright eyes were shining. You know me? Yin Luofeng raised his eyebrows and looked at the woman who had appeared at the door. When the guard saw that Yin Luofeng actually knew Lin Yuting, he was shocked. He quickly cupped his fists and said, Senior Sister Yuting, I didn't know that this lady knew you, so I won't argue with you this time. Lin Yuting waved her hand. Next time, you have to remember that those who come to the Doctors' Association are guests. You can't be rude to guests. After saying this, she turned her gaze to Yin Luofeng and smiled. I just asked my master to send you an invitation. I didn't expect you to appear here. All right, I haven't introduced myself yet. My name is Lin Yuting. The city lord of the medical city, Lin Gu, is my father. As for why I know you, it's because I've seen your portrait. She had indeed seen Yin Luofeng's portrait. Not only Yin Luofeng, but even Yun Xingya and Old Man Yun had portraits of them in the medical city. The reason for this was none other than the fact that his debauchee older brother hated the Yun family to the bone. Thus, he ordered the people who visited the Yun family to draw their portraits and paste them on the walls. Every day, he would spit on these portraits, and sometimes he would even pee on them. How could Lin Yuting not recognize that the girl in front of her was Yin Luofeng, someone from Medical City? Yin Luofeng's eyes darkened as he asked, My father and your Yin family have some misunderstandings, but this is not a big problem. I will apologize to you on behalf of my father, Lin Yuting said with a slight smile. Facing the elegant woman before him, Yun Luofeng's lips curled into an eerie smile. Misunderstanding? If I break your legs, cripple your strength, and force you to hide in darkness for 10 years, and after 10 years, I tell you that this is just a misunderstanding, will you really think that this is just a misunderstanding? If it had been anyone else, they would have flown into a rage out of humiliation after being treated so rudely by Yin Luofeng. However, Lin Yuting still had an elegant smile on her face. That's why I said I apologize to you on behalf of my father. All right, Yin Luofeng laughed. Then I'll let you receive the same treatment as my second uncle, and then let my disciple apologize on my behalf. Do you think that's possible? 10 years of living in darkness without daylight. 10 years of living a life worse than death. How could he be appeased with just an apology? Second uncle had suffered so much, so she must seek justice for him. He would never let the people of the Medicine City get away scot-free. Chapter 619. Lin Yuting's eyes darkened, but she quickly regained her composure. Her face retained its graceful smile as she said, Lady Yun, I know that you're angry now, but I believe that you're here to join the doctors' conference as well. Hence, it's better for you to follow me into the Doctors' Association first. She did not seem to take Yin Luofeng's words to heart as she turned towards the guard at the door and spoke in a gentle voice. Lady Yun is my friend, and she has also been invited to join the doctors' conference. Hence, you may let her in now. Yes, senior sister Yuting. The guard stepped aside and replied respectfully. Let's go. Lin Yuting's gaze fell upon Yin Luofeng as she smiled gracefully. You only need to follow me in. No one will stop you. What she meant was that if Yin Luofeng does not follow her, she would not be able to enter the Doctors' Association. Regarding this point, Lin Yuting was very confident. Since Yin Luofeng was not a member of the Doctors' Association, she would need an invitation if she wishes to join the conference. These invitations would have to be sent out through her hands. As long as Yin Luofeng follows her into the Doctors' Association, it would mean that she would become one of her people. However, just as Lin Yuting thought that Yin Luofeng would certainly agree, the young girl finally spoke again. Her words caused Lin Yuting's brows to sink. There's no need. Lin Yuting gently furrowed her brows. Is this woman really that stubborn? She was about to continue to persuade her when suddenly an elderly laugh rang out. Ha ha, Yin girl, you come as well. Yin Luofeng turned her gaze to the side when she heard this familiar voice. She stared at the old man who was walking towards her and smiled. Elder Rong, long time no see. The person before her was none other than Elder Rong from the Medicine Pavilion. He never thought that they would bump into each other so coincidentally at the main entrance of the Doctors' Association. Elder Rong acted as if he didn't see Lin Yuting and walked to Yin Luofeng's side. Girl, I knew that you would definitely come to participate in the Doctors' Association this time. So a few months ago, I asked our pavilion master to ask for an extra invitation from the association. I was originally wondering if I could bump into you on the way, but who would have thought that we would really meet? By the way, here's your invitation. Lin Yuting could no longer maintain her usual elegance. Her face darkened slightly, and she clenched her fists tightly to suppress the anger in her heart. Since Miss Yin already has an invitation, I shall not disturb you any further. Goodbye. Lin Yuting narrowed her eyes and glanced at Yin Luofeng and Elder Rong. She forced a smile. Then, she walked into the association without looking back. Girl, Elder Rong frowned. How did you end up meeting Lin Yuting? Yin Luofeng shrugged his shoulders. She said that she would apologize to me on behalf of the city lord of the medical city and asked me to forgive her. Apologize? Elder Rong sneered. How dare she say that? Also, I heard that the medical city had been burned down by someone. Was it you? Yin Luofeng did not deny it. He nodded and said, Yes, I did it. Gasp. Elder Rong could not help but gasp. He then smiled bitterly in exasperation. You little girl, you've certainly got guts. Elder Ning and I were not by your side, yet you had run off to the medical city alone. The city lord of the medical city is very powerful. What if you had fallen into the hands of the medical city? Chapter 620. The old man looked at Yun Luofeng worriedly and spoke in a reproachful tone. Yun Luofeng knew that the old man was worried about her, and she couldn't help but feel a surge of warmth in her heart. Her fingers gently stroked Milk Tea's little head, and the corners of her lips curved. Milk Tea is enough. Elder Rong shook his head in exasperation. What can this gold-seeking rat do? Can it protect you? You brought along a little girl and a gold-seeking rat to kill your way into the city lord's mansion. If it wasn't for the fact that that bastard Lin Gu wasn't in the medical city, perhaps you would have fallen into his hands. By that time, it was already too late for Elder Ning and I to rush over. Yun Luofeng raised the corners of her lips. I know what I'm doing. Elder Rong didn't say anything else when he heard Yun Luofeng's words. He said resentfully, Little girl, no matter what, you're not allowed to do this next time. Otherwise, us old fellows will have to be on tenterhooks with you every day. If you really want to act against the medicine city, you should at least let us know. Elder Rong. Yun Luofeng raised her head, and her dark eyes were filled with seriousness. No matter what, you're still a member of the Doctors Association, so I don't want to drag the medicine city down with me. Elder Rong patted Yun Luofeng's shoulder, and his eyes were filled with affection. Little girl Yun, don't forget that you saved the Medicine City Master's life. Without you, the Medicine City would no longer exist. Besides, I don't think that leaving the Doctors Association is a loss. Your achievements in the future will be greater than those of the Doctors Association. It must be said that Elder Rong was very clear about this. He would rather betray the Doctors Association to protect Yun Luofeng. This was because Yun Luofeng was too talented. How could the Doctors Association compare to her in the future? Perhaps the Doctors Association could only look up to her. When that time comes, based on the relationship between the Medicine City and Yun Luofeng, the boat would rise higher than the water. Thank you. Yun Luofeng's smile was filled with sincerity. Regardless of Elder Rong's motives, the fact that he was willing to fall out with the Doctors Association in order to protect her was enough to keep her in mind. Ha! Elder Rong laughed. Little girl Yun, you don't have to thank me. You just have to give me some pointers when you climb to the top of the mainland in the future. Elder Rong did not pretend to be polite to Yun Luofeng. Instead, he spoke his mind honestly. Because of her sincerity, Yun Luofeng trusted her without a doubt. Yun lass. Elder Rong seemed to have thought of something as the smile on his face slowly disappeared. Lin Gu is also in this Doctors Association. I'm worried that he'll harm you. Hence, you'll have to follow the team from the medical pavilion. No matter what, he doesn't have the guts to make a move against the medical pavilion in the Doctors Association. There was a rule in the Doctors Association. As long as it was a faction that belonged to the association, they could only fight in the dark and not openly. If the people from the Doctors Association were to find out that the two factions were fighting, they would definitely be expelled from the association, even if the medical city had the backing of Lin Yuting. All right, Yun Luofeng did not reject Elder Rong's good intentions. Instead, he gladly accepted it. Ha! Elder Rong laughed heartily again. Let's go, little girl. We haven't seen each other for so long. We should catch up. In a luxurious room in the Doctors Association, Lin Gu was deep in thought with his eyes closed. Suddenly, he sensed a figure stopping in front of him. He slowly opened his eyes. Yuting? Lin Gu was startled and asked, What's the matter? Chapter 621. Father. Lin Yuting pursed her lips, a complicated look in her eyes. I have a presumptuous request. I hope that Father can help me. What? For some reason, seeing Lin Yuting's conflicted expression, Lin Gu gradually had a bad feeling in his heart. I hope that you can apologize to Yun Luofeng. These few words made Lin Gu fly into a rage instantly, and he jumped up from the bed in an instant. Yuting, what did you just say? You wanted to apologize to that slut Yun Luofeng? Let me tell you, this is impossible. It's already good enough that I didn't take revenge on her. Don't expect me to apologize. He gritted his teeth in hatred, his eyes filled with viciousness. Lin Yuting frowned slightly. I have no other choice. I have already apologized on your behalf. but she is unwilling to accept it. Now, you can only go there yourself. I will let my master be the lobbyist. Maybe she will forgive you for the sake of the Doctors' Association. Yiting, you don't need to say anything more. Lin Gu snorted coldly. I've already promised you that I won't seek revenge on him, but it's impossible for me to apologize to that woman. Don't even think about it. Yun Xingya had hurt his son so deeply, and that woman, Yun Luofeng, had set fire to the city lord's mansion. With this kind of hatred, how could he apologize to her? Father, Lin Yiting's face darkened. This matter was originally my brother's fault. Back then, I had already asked Master to stand up to protect the medical city and force Yun Xingya to such an extent. I think that my revenge on him is enough. Why are you still holding on to it? Lin Gu was so angry that his entire body was trembling. Yiting, don't forget, back then, you were alone and had no one to rely on. It was because I pitied you that I took you in. Now, is this how you repay me? Lin Yiting clenched her fists tightly. Father, I know that you have done me a great favor. All these years, I have indulged in all the actions of a medical city. I have helped you so much. Why aren't you willing to help me this once? If my master were to fall, would there still be a way for the medical city to survive in the future? She raised her head and stared at Lin Gu. She spoke in a sincere and heartfelt tone. Don't worry. Once I've subdued Yun Luofeng, I'll let you vent your anger. Lin Gu looked at Lin Yiting suspiciously. Can she really help me vent my anger? Of course it was fake. Her goal was to make Lin Gu follow her to apologize, so that Yun Luofeng would forgive the medical city for what they had done. However, she would not tell Lin Gu about this. I will definitely do what I say. Lin Yiting's eyes were filled with determination as she made a solemn vow. However, Lin Gu wasn't sure if his words were true or false. All right. Lin Gu took a deep breath. I agree to your condition this time, but you have to keep your word. After you subdue Yun Luofeng, give her to me for a few days. In these few days, I will make her beg for death. Lin Yiting glanced at the malevolent-looking Lin Gu and replied indifferently. You only need to remember, don't cripple her powers. I need to use her powers. I understand. Lin Ji's expression gradually improved. Yiting, let's go find that damn girl Yun Luofeng now. The humiliation I've suffered today, I will return it to her 1,000 times over. Lin Yiting's lips curled into a cold smile as she stared at the man whose eyes had been sealed off by hatred. Unfortunately, Lin Gu had completely forgotten the cold look on the woman's face. Chapter 622. In a quiet little courtyard, Yun Luofeng sat quietly in a pavilion. She gazed deeply at the sky not far away, and an evil light flashed across her eyes. It's been a year. It's been a whole year. I wonder if Yin Xiao has already left the Xiao family's secret territory. If Yin Xiao has left, she will definitely come to the doctor's conference to find me. Thinking of this, her heart calmed down and a lazy and wanton smile appeared on her face. Yun Luofeng. Suddenly, a voice sounded out from nearby, and it disturbed her tranquil mood. She leaned against the pearl in the pavilion and used the back of her head as a pillow. She glanced lazily at the few people who were walking in from outside the courtyard. Among them, one of them was Lin Yiting, whom he had just met today. As for the other two, one was a sage-like old man, and the other was a handsome middle-aged man. Compared to the old man's indifference, a trace of hatred flashed across the middle-aged man's eyes, and his gaze was also dark. Yin Luofeng did not need to think too much to guess the middle-aged man's identity. The city lord of the medical city, Lin Gu. He was also the main culprit who had caused her second uncle to be so miserable. Seeing the people who were walking over quickly, she raised the corners of her lips slightly. I don't seem to welcome you here. Lin Ji's expression changed instantly, but he remembered Lin Yiting's previous instructions and could only suppress his anger. He said coldly, I'm here to apologize to you. Apologize? Yin Luofeng's evil eyes swept across Lin Gu. If you want to apologize, kneel down first. The young girl's tone was domineering and arrogant. Her arrogant expression carried a condescending aura. It was obvious that she did not care about Lin Gu at all. Yin Luofeng, Don't push your luck. Lin Ge clenched his fists in anger, and his expression was ashen. Father, Lin Yuting frowned slightly and lowered her voice. What's a temporary sacrifice for the sake of the big picture? Yun Luofeng's talent is not bad. If I don't rope her in, she will very likely be roped in by other elders. At that time, not only will I lose a powerful person, but you will also not be able to mention revenge. Lin Ji's expression changed. He knew that what Lin Yuting said was the truth. If Yun Luofeng was roped in by another elder, then he could forget about taking revenge in the future. Thinking of this, he took a deep breath and knelt down on one knee. I was wrong before. I apologize. So you also know how to admit your mistakes. Yun Luofeng raised his eyebrows. But you didn't even kowtow. What kind of apology is that? Lin Ge was so angry that he almost exploded. His face was flushed and his eyes were filled with anger. Making him kneel was already his bottom line, but this woman actually wanted him to kowtow to her? Dream on. Father. Lin Yuting couldn't help but call out, do you want to waste all your previous efforts? All previous efforts for naught? These 4 words smashed into Lin Ji's heart. He clenched his fists and banged his head on the ground. Is this enough? After kowtowing once, Lin Ge stood up. At this moment, his expression was extremely ugly, and the anger in his eyes intensified. I've already apologized and kowtowed. Can you fulfill your promise and forgive me? Promise? Yun Luofeng smiled gently. I'm sorry. I don't think I made any promises, nor did I promise to forgive you. I only wanted you to kneel and kowtow. I didn't think that you would agree so obediently. Chapter 6:23. This time, not to mention Lin Ge, even Lin Yuting and Luo Fu, who were at the side, had ugly expressions on their faces. This woman was clearly playing with them. Little girl, Luo Fu's eyes slightly darkened. Your previous dispute has also caused great harm to the medical city. However, the medical city has let bygones be bygones and come to apologize to you. Why are you so unwilling to let go? The old man's words made Yun Luofeng laugh out loud. The medical city has been injured? I don't know what kind of injuries the medical city has suffered. Can they compare to my second uncle's 10 years of darkness? Can they compare to his 10 years of living a life worse than death? Luo Fu frowned, his tone gradually becoming impatient. The young city lord of the medical city has suffered a blow and has not been able to recover his spirit for so many years. Isn't this Yun Qingya's fault? However, the medical city has already let bygones be bygones and apologize to you. Why do you have to make things so difficult for us? This is not good for you either. On the stage, it was a fair duel. He was inferior to others and lost to my second uncle. For this, he did not hesitate to send experts from the medical city to take revenge. Yun Luofeng's face carried a demonic smile as his cold gaze gradually fell on the old man. If my second uncle was you, would you still think that it was my second uncle's fault? No wonder the medical city was so shameless. It seemed that the people from the Doctors' Association were no different from the medical city. They were equally shameless. Luo Fu's expression was somewhat ugly. Even if it's the medical city's fault, Lin Ge has already apologized to you. Can't you repay evil with kindness? Other than Luo Fu, many people had already said this to Yun Luofeng. Repay evil with kindness? Sorry, she had always known that if someone owed her a point, she would repay them 10 times. I am irreconcilable with the medical city. The young girl's words were arrogant and domineering as they slowly sounded in this quiet courtyard. Luo Fu's expression completely darkened. Just as he was about to reprimand her, Lin Yuting raised her hand and stopped him. She shook her head at Luo Fu, then turned her gaze to Yun Luofeng. I know you have a grudge in your heart. Then tell me, what should our medical city do to beg for your forgiveness? Yun Luofeng smiled evilly. If you want me to forgive your medical city, it's not impossible. Wait until the day your medical city is destroyed. I will forgive you. Hee hee. Luo Fu was so angry that he laughed. His gaze was no longer as calm as it was at the beginning and instantly became cold. Yun Luofeng, you're the most savage little girl I have ever seen. Do Do you really think we have to suck up to you? I admit that your talent is not bad, and I do have the intention to rope you in. However, you're not the only genius in this world. When he spoke up to here, he paused for a moment and continued. Not to mention that a genius can only rule the world if he doesn't perish. So, I hope you don't die too quickly. Ting, let's go. The old man's tone was clearly threatening. Before he left, he glanced back at Yin Luo Feng, a sharp light in his eyes. Since this little girl was not willing to be used by him, then he would rather destroy her than let her join the ranks of the others. Yin Luo Feng, my master has a bad temper. Don't take it to heart. Lin Yuting looked at Yin Luo Feng and was silent for a while, then said, If you regret it, I welcome you to find me at any time. In Lin Yuting's heart, she still wanted to do everything she could to rope in Yin Luo Feng. If there was really no way to make her submit, then she could only listen to her master's orders and kill her. Chapter 6:24. After Luo Fu left the courtyard, he returned to the study. Once he entered the room, he walked to a chair and angrily smoothed his robes before sitting down. That girl really doesn't know what's good for her. Master, Lin Yuting followed him in and smiled elegantly. Leave Yin Luo Feng to me for now. I will think of a way to make her obey us. Luo Fu sighed. That girl is too stubborn. I'm afraid it won't be that easy to make her obey us. Give me some time. Let me try again. Lin Yuting narrowed her eyes, and a murderous glint flashed across them. If it really doesn't work, I will personally take care of her. All right. Luo Fu's expression was cold, and his gaze was cold. Yu Ting, that woman is full of tricks. You must not fall for her tricks. Also, I just received news that the Ghost Emperor is already on his way to the Doctors Association. He will arrive in about 3 days. So, you must be prepared. While the Ghost Emperor is at the association, do not let any woman get close to him. In the entire Doctors Association, there were countless people who wanted to harm the Ghost Emperor. That was why Luo Fu had warned Lin Yuting. Lin Yuting nodded seriously. Her eyes were solemn as she said, I understand. Since you understand, you can go now. The meeting will begin tomorrow. During this time, you can give Yin Luo Feng some trouble and let her understand the importance of having a backer. The moonlight was like water. Yin Luo Feng was just about to sleep when she heard a knock on the door. She paused and asked, Who is it? Little Yun, it's me. Are you asleep? Elder Rong's aged voice slowly drifted into the room. Yin Luo Feng raised her eyebrows. Elder Rong, why are you looking for me so late at night? That's right. Little Yin, can I go in first? All right. Yin Luo Feng thought for a moment before agreeing to Elder Rong's request. Creak. The door was pushed open, and Elder Rong, dressed in a gray robe, walked in. He sat down in Yin Luo Feng's room without any trace of politeness, minding his own business and pouring himself a cup of tea. Little Yin, your tea is pretty good. Where did you get it from? Elder Rong had just taken a sip of the tea when his eyes suddenly lit up. He asked with a smile, These are the tea leaves I brought. If you want, I can give you some. Yin Luo Feng straightened her dress and sat down in front of Elder Rong. Speak. Why have you come to find me now? Little Yin, I heard that Lin Yuting and Lin Gu came to look for you today. Elder Rong looked at Yin Luo Feng doubtfully and asked. Yin Luo Feng nodded lightly. There is also an old man. If I'm not wrong, he should be Lin Yuting's master. Hearing the girl's words, Elder Rong's expression turned ugly. What are they doing here? Did I hurt you? The girl's slender fingers gently held the teacup, brought it to her lips, took a sip, and then slowly put it down. They came here to rope me in. Roping him in? Elder Rong was startled and frowned. If I'm not wrong, this should be Lin Yuting's idea. Compared to her father and brother, Lin Yuting is a smart person. She knows what's best for herself. She must have taken a fancy to your talent and wanted you to pledge allegiance to her. Unfortunately, you rejected her. He did not need to think too much to know that Yin Luo Feng must have rejected these people. However, little Yun, Lin Yuting will definitely not let this go. She will think of other ways to rope you in. Furthermore, I've come to find you for another matter. Chapter 6:25. Elder Rong's expression was solemn, Every time the Doctors Association meets, they would send out invitations to young doctors who have yet to join the association. This was also the reason why I was able to receive your invitation so easily. Before the start of each conference, these young doctors would go through a trial. Those who pass the trial will be recruited by the various factions of the Doctors Association. Elder Roan paused for a moment before he continued. Hence, before the meeting begins, the elders of the Doctors Association will try to recruit the young disciples. Hence, I'm guessing that other than Elder Luo Fu, there will be other elders who will come to see you. Yin Luo Feng gently tapped her finger on the table as a demonic light flashed across her pitch-black eyes. The corners of her lips were curled into a cold smile. I'm not here to participate in the doctor's conference. I'm only here to deal with the Medicine City. If the Medicine City had not gone to the doctor's conference, she would never have come here. Elder Rong shook his head and smiled bitterly. Yin girl, you've already received the Medicine City's invitation. It would be inappropriate for you to not participate in the conference. Besides, I've heard that the prize for this conference is an extremely valuable treasure. What treasure? The Dragon Crystal Sword. The Dragon Crystal Sword may not be a divine weapon, but it was much more powerful than most weapons. No wonder Elder Rong had wanted to trick Yin Luo Feng into participating in this competition. However, when she heard that the prize for the competition was the Dragon Crystal Sword, a light flashed across Yin Luofeng's eyes. All right, I'll participate in this conference. Of course, what she needed was not the Dragon Crystal Sword. It was the Dragon Crystal on the sword. It was an essential item for refining puppets. Haha. After getting the answer he wanted, Boss Rong laughed and stood up. Little Yun, if that's the case, then you should prepare well and participate in the trials tomorrow. I won't disturb you now. Goodbye. After saying his piece, Elder Rong turned around and left with a smile. At this moment, the old man was clearly in a good mood. His elderly face was full of smiles. Just as Elder Rong had left, a gentle breeze blew into the room. A sharp light flashed across Yin Luofeng's eyes. She turned towards the window and shouted in a stern voice, "Who is it? Show yourself." "Mistress, it's me." A familiar voice came from outside the window. Then, Qin Yuan, dressed in a long gray robe, jumped in and landed in front of Yin Luofeng. "Qin Yuan?" Yin Luofeng's eyes were filled with confusion. "Why are you here?" Qin Yuan glanced at Yin Luofeng and respectfully replied, "Mistress, my master knows that you will definitely attend the doctor's conference. So he sent me to inform Mistress that he is on his way here. Due to a sudden situation, I need to delay for a few days." Yin Xiao was coming? This news caused Yin Luofeng to rejoice in his heart. His pitch-black eyes were filled with joy. "I got it. I will wait for him here." After being separated for a year, she was finally going to see that callous man again. Her heart involuntarily trembled. By the way, Qin Yuan, how has General Yun's residence been lately? Are there any blind precursors causing trouble? Qin Yuan shook his head. While you've been away, Mistress, Elder Ning has been keeping watch over General Yun's residence. For the time being, no one would dare to have any ill intentions towards General Yun's residence. Don't worry, Mistress. Besides, his master has already emerged from closed-door cultivation. How could he allow anyone to harm General Yun's residence? Wasn't that the same as digging their own grave? Chapter 626. Yun Luofeng pondered for a moment, then continued to ask, "Is there news of my second uncle?" This. Qin Yuan scratched his head. Sir Qing'a hasn't returned to the general's residence. I don't know where he went either. Yin Luofeng's heart trembled slightly, and his tightly furrowed brows carried a hint of worry. Second uncle hasn't returned to the general's residence for the past year. Where could he have gone? Could it be that something happened to him? Mistress, don't worry. Qin Yuan seemed to feel Yin Luofeng's worry and hurriedly comforted her. Sir Qing'a will be fine. He probably went somewhere to train and will be back soon. I hope so. Yin Luofeng's lightly furrowed brows relaxed. After the conference, if second uncle still doesn't show up, then I'll go to the forest of no return to find him. The doctor's conference was held in the plaza. When the morning sun rose, the entire plaza was filled with people. Everyone sat down orderly according to their seats and waited quietly where they were. Not long after, Lin Yiting, who was wearing a yellow dress, walked in with a group of association disciples. Her steps were light, noble, and elegant, and she had the bearing of a noble. Lin Yiting's gaze swept across the crowd. The moment she saw Yun Luofeng, she paused for a moment, then quickly looked away. Everyone, this time's conference will be hosted by me. I will definitely give you a fair and just trial. I will not practice favoritism. Lin Yiting's brows were firm. Now, I will first explain the rules of the trial. Because this time's trial is hosted by the Doctors Association, it will definitely be related to medical skills. I will arrange some patients for you, and you must cure them within the allotted time. Otherwise, you will fail the trial. Do you understand? Hearing Lin Yiting's words, the group of young doctors below the stage let out excited voices. Understood. All right, I will let the patients come forward later. Lin Yiting looked at Yun Luofeng again, and a light flashed in her beautiful eyes. Yun Luofeng, in order to rope you in, I can only do something during your competition. Otherwise, if you successfully defeat other opponents, you will definitely be fought over by the other elders in the association. Because of this, I can only make you fail the competition. Lin Yiting took a deep breath. As long as she could make the other elders give up on the idea of fighting over Yun Luofeng. So what if he resorted to all means? Soon, a group of patients was carried into the square and sent to the various doctors. Yun Luofeng stared at the wailing young man in front of him. He narrowed his eyes slightly, and an evil light flashed across them. He said coldly, "He is not sick." In this quiet square, the young girl's words were very clear and fell into everyone's ears. "What nonsense are you talking about?" The young man's expression changed, and he roared angrily. "I'm in so much pain here. How dare you say I'm not sick? Are you a doctor or not?" His medical skills had reached such a level. "You didn't even take my pulse, yet you directly concluded that I'm not sick." Yun Luofeng glanced at him evilly. "I want to ask you, why are you pretending to be sick when you are not sick?" Pretending to be sick? In the audience seats, Elder Rome was stunned. His astonished gaze swept over Yun Luofeng and then turned to Lin Yiting, who was on the high platform. His eyes were filled with shock. He had never imagined that Lin Yiting would do such a thing. As long as this young man claimed that there was definitely something wrong with his body, then she could use this to announce that Yun Luofeng's medical skills were terrible. Because of this, many elders who wanted to rope in Yun Luofeng would withdraw. Chapter 6:27. Lin Yiting frowned slightly and turned to look at Yun Luofeng. She then said, "The Doctors Association has gone through a strict selection process to select these patients. It can't be wrong. There must be something wrong with his body. Miss Yun, you should take his pulse first." "There's no need." Yun Luofeng shook her head. She still said the same thing. "There's nothing wrong with his body." The young man on the stretcher seemed to be rolling on the ground in pain. His forehead was covered in cold sweat, and his face looked very weak. "Do you think that I'm pretending to be sick?" The young man gritted his teeth and said angrily, "A quack is a quack. Because you can't cure my illness, you say that I'm pretending to be sick. What right does a person like you have to participate in the doctor's conference?" On the high platform, Lin Yiting watched the farce below her expressionlessly. Her beautiful eyes flickered and the corners of her lips unconsciously curled into an arc very quickly. It disappeared. Yun Luofeng was indeed quite capable. She could actually tell that this young man was pretending to be sick. Even Elder Zhang from the Doctors Association might not be able to tell the young man's physical condition. This was because she had used some tricks to make this young man look like he was seriously ill. It was as if she had used a smokescreen. Other than herself, no one else would think that he was pretending to be sick. Cough, cough. The sound of a dry cough rang out from the high platform. Then the old man who had been standing beside Lin Yiting since the beginning slowly walked down. His footsteps were illusory, and he arrived in front of Yun Luofeng in just a few steps. "One of you says that he's pretending to be sick, but the other says that he's not. So, let me determine if this person is really pretending to be sick." The old man stroked his beard and glanced at Lin Yuting on the high platform. If someone is using their power to avenge a personal grudge and falsify information during the conference, I will certainly report this to the president. No matter how biased the Doctors Association had been towards the medical city, falsifying information during the doctors' conference was absolutely not allowed. Otherwise, it would be tarnishing the sacred Doctors Association. Then, the old man lowered his body and gently placed his finger on the young man's pulse. He frowned and pondered for a long time before he stood up. This young man's pulse is beating very quickly, and the pain in his body is not fake. It's just strange that even with my medical skills, I can't determine his illness. It can only prove that his body is indeed sick. This old man was quite honest. He clearly stated that even he could not diagnose the young man's illness. He wasn't afraid of losing face in public. Elder Rome was stunned. His eyes were filled with astonishment. Elder Lan Hong could be considered a fresh stream in the Doctors Association. It was impossible for him to lie, nor would he side with Lin Yuting. Even he said that the young man was not pretending to be sick. Could it be no? Yun Luofeng's strength was there. Since she said that the young man was pretending to be sick, then there must be a reason. Elder Rong still had great trust in Yun Luofeng. Thinking of this, Elder Rong calmed his restless emotions and stared deeply at the two people in the square. TSK, I really don't know where this woman stole her invitation card from. How dare she attend the conference with such medical skills? In the plaza, the geniuses who were also invited to participate could not help but mock him. They looked at Yin Luofeng with disdain. I think she knows that she can't cure the patient. So, she said that the patient is pretending to be sick. Even Elder Lan Hong said that there's indeed a problem with the other party's body. This proves that he isn't faking it. Chapter 628. As if she did not hear the mocking voices, Yin Luofeng slowly walked in front of the young man and looked down at him condescendingly. Do you know the consequences of pretending to be sick in front of me? The young man's expression changed abruptly, and a dark look flashed across his eyes. Elder Lan Hong has already diagnosed my body and proved that I have an illness. Even at this point in time, you still insist that I'm pretending to be ill? Everyone else whispered to each other and looked at Yin Luofeng with even more mockery. This woman is really shameless. Could it be that the Doctors Association knows how to fake things? She's clearly not capable enough. She is trying to shirk responsibility. Elder Rong's expression was a little anxious, and he kept signaling Yin Luofeng with his eyes. Then, he stood up and was about to speak up for her. But at that moment, the young girl suddenly moved. Bang. The young girl grabbed the young man's arm tightly and flung him to the ground. Then, she stepped on him and raised her eyebrows insolently. What do you want? The young man roared angrily and struggled to get up. He glared angrily at Yin Luofeng. Everyone was stunned. No one had expected that Yin Luofeng would directly attack an injured patient in the Doctors Association. He had no scruples at all. Lin Yuting frowned slightly and gave the man next to her a look. The man understood Lin Yuting's meaning and quickly stood up. His eyes were as sharp as a sword. Yin Luofeng, how dare you? You hurt someone even though you are useless. How arrogant. How can an immoral person like you be worthy of the word doctor? Also, who gave someone like you an invitation and actually allowed you to come in for a trial? Yin Luofeng glanced at the man. Her eyes were filled with arrogance and unruliness. It was as if this man was merely a clown to her, and she could not even be bothered to say a word to him. Xiaoping. At this moment, Lin Yuting stood up and said pretentiously, Yin Luofeng's invitation was given by someone from the medical pavilion, but it was also with my permission. After all, based on her performance outside, she is indeed qualified to participate in the doctor's conference. Senior Sister Yuting, those are just some rumors from the outside world. Rumors can't be trusted at all. Maybe those people took her money, so they helped her to brag. I don't think this woman is that good. Qiu Ping's lips curled into a sarcastic smile as he narrowed his eyes at Yin Luofeng. Moreover, Senior Sister Yuting, have you forgotten how she treated you previously? You kindly brought the city lord of the medical city to apologize to her. But not only did she reject your apology, she even insulted you. Why are you still speaking up for such a person? Xiaoping sneered and stared coldly at Yun Luofeng. He and Lin Yuting had done this kind of thing many times. All these years, he had always spoken on behalf of Lin Yuting, and only then did Lin Yuting come out to be a good person. But no matter what he did for Lin Yuting, he did it willingly. Lin Yuting shook her head. I've told you before that you must repay evil with good. Why don't you understand? Furthermore, the medical city was in the wrong for what happened all those years ago. It's only right for them to apologize. Most importantly, I believe that Yun Luofeng is a talent that can be molded. Even if she failed the trial, I still intend to take her in. Chapter 629. Senior sister, don't speak up for this Yun Luofeng. What moldable talent? She's clearly a piece of trash. You only feel that the medical city has harmed Yun Qingya, so you feel guilty. That's why you want to give Yun Luofeng a chance, but he doesn't appreciate it. Shut up. Lin Yuting's face turned cold. Xiaoping, you have to remember, no one in this world is trash. Even if Yun Luofeng's medical skills are really not good, I still have the confidence to nurture her. Yun Luofeng crossed his arms over his chest, and the corner of his lips curled up into a sinister smile. He narrowed his eyes as he watched the two of them echo each other. No one else noticed, but she clearly saw that at the very beginning, Lin Yuting had given that man a meaningful glance. It was obvious that Lin Yuting had taught him to say these words. After Lin Yuting finished speaking, she turned to Yun Luofeng and said with a graceful smile, Miss Yun, don't worry. Regardless of whether you succeed or fail this time, I will leave you a way out. Treat it as compensation to your Yun family. The meaning behind her words was that she had set her eyes on Yun Luofeng not because he had strength, but because she wanted to compensate the Yun family. In this way, it indirectly proved that Yun Luofeng's strength was lacking. It also caused some of the elders who wanted to subdue her to retreat. In order to prevent her from joining the other elders' factions, Lin Yuting was truly unscrupulous. Unfortunately, things that were useful to others might not be effective to Yun Luofeng. If you really want to compensate me, then kill Lin Gu and his son. She raised the corner of her lips, her eyes insolent. As long as the medical city is not destroyed, I will not rest for a day. If it was anyone else, they would definitely be angry after hearing Yun Luofeng's words. However, Lin Yuting still had an elegant and appropriate smile on her face as she said in a friendly manner, I know you are angry in your heart. It doesn't matter. I can wait for you. As long as you're loyal to me, I can hand over all my medical skills to you. Just treat it as compensation to you. The crowd was in an uproar. The doctors who were participating in the trial all forgot about the treatment at hand. Other than resentment, there was also envy in their eyes as they looked at Yun Luofeng. They hated Yun Luofeng for not knowing how to appreciate favors, but they also envied her for not needing to pass the trial to join the Doctors' Association. Why didn't they get such a good opportunity? Yun Luofeng's foot was still stepping on the young patient's body, making it hard for him to breathe. His eyes were bulging and bloodshot. You also want to guide my medical skills? She glanced at Lin Yuting with her evil eyes and smiled coldly. But since you know so much about me, don't you know what happened to the last person who said he wanted to guide me? 2 years ago, on the big ship on the Qin River, Mu Wushuang claimed in front of everyone that he would guide her. However, in the end, he was severely slapped in the face in public. This matter was known to the entire Long Yuan country. Lin Yuting had already gathered information about Yun Luofeng. How could she not know about this matter? Therefore, her expression was slightly ugly. She forced a smile and said, I'm just being kind. No matter how good Yun Luofeng's medical skills were, under the current circumstances, it was impossible for him to make a comeback. Yun Luofeng, seeing that Lin Yuting was being bullied by her, Xiaoping flipped out on the spot. You don't know what's good for you. Sister Yuting is always thinking about you, but you humiliate her like this. Also, immediately release the person under your foot. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. At first, everyone's eyes were attracted by the fight between Yun Luofeng and Lin Yuting. They all forgot about the person under her foot. Chapter 630. I'm sorry, I forgot about him. Yun Luofeng moved her foot away. She grabbed the young man's clothes and pulled him up from the ground. There was a trace of evil in the smile on her lips. I'll give you one more chance. Who made you pretend to be sick? The young man's expression changed, and he roared angrily. I told you, I'm not pretending to be sick. Is that so? Yin Luofeng raised the corner of her lips and threw the young man in front of Lan Hong. Check his pulse again. Lan Hong was a little shocked, but he still crouched down and placed his finger on the young man's pulse. This time, he was completely dumbfounded. He said in a daze, That's impossible. I just felt that his pulse was abnormal. Why is it so normal now? Based on his current pulse, he's very healthy. That's impossible. The young man's eyes were filled with fear. He said angrily, There's definitely something wrong with my body. You're all talking nonsense. As he said this, his body started to tremble. If he didn't complete Xiaoping's task this time, his wife would be in danger. But he clearly didn't understand what had happened. Why had his pulse suddenly returned to normal? Before he came, Xiaoping had given him a bowl of medicinal soup. It was that soup that had messed up his pulse and caused him so much pain. But just as he was about to succeed, something like this happened at the most crucial moment. Suddenly, the young man seemed to remember something. He hurriedly turned to Yun Luofeng, his eyes filled with fear. It's this woman. It must be her doing. Just now, when this woman had stepped on him, he had clearly felt a trace of spiritual energy enter his body. The spiritual power must have interfered, causing the bowl of medicinal soup in his body to lose its effect. Lin Yuting frowned and looked at Xiaoping next to her. A sharp light flashed across her beautiful eyes. Meeting the light in her eyes, Xiaoping's heart instantly tensed up. He no longer cared about Lan Hong's position in the Doctors' Association and hurriedly said, Elder Lan Hong, all the patients who come here have been strictly screened. How could there be a mistake? You must have sensed it wrong. He can't be a healthy person. Lan Hong looked impatient. He glared at Xiaoping and said, So you think my medical skills are bad? I can't even tell if he's healthy or not. The crowd instantly returned to silence. Regardless of whether it was the disciples of the Doctors' Association or the people who came to participate in the conference, all of them maintained a state of silence. It was as if this unforeseen event had caught everyone off guard. Elder Lan Hong, Elder Rong's heart finally calmed down. He stood up from his seat and chuckled. Why don't we invite the other elders to diagnose him as well? Moreover, it would also convince some people. All right. Lan Hong nodded and said indifferently, Someone, go and invite all the elders of the Doctors' Association. Tell them that there is a matter for them to decide. Yes. Hearing this, a disciple immediately walked down. Not long after, the figures of the elders of the Doctors' Association appeared in front of everyone's eyes. After hearing Lan Hong's words, the elders all stepped forward to diagnose the young man. Even Lin Yuting's master, Luo Fu, was among them. Very quickly, the results were out. Lin Yuting quickly looked at Luo Fu anxiously. When she saw him shaking his head at her, her heart skipped a beat. Chapter 631. Lin Yuting bit her lips. The medicine that she had asked Xiaoping to give to this young man would not be wrong. Moreover, Lan Hong had indeed determined that his body had an illness before. But why did it change so quickly? What on earth had happened in the midst of all this? Luo Fu had a complicated expression on his face. He was the one who had instructed Lin Yuting to do this. That was why he wanted to fabricate a false conclusion. However, he knew that with so many elders as witnesses, he could not fabricate a false conclusion. He sighed helplessly. He really is not ill. A person who is not ill was participating in the test. There was probably no one in the world who didn't know what this represented. That was why the entire plaza was in an uproar. This young man is not ill. Why did he fabricate a false diagnosis? He even caused us to misunderstand this lady. Do you think that there are people who are not ill among the people we are going to treat? Looks like the Doctors' Association is not completely trustworthy. What if we can't diagnose the patient's illness? Does that mean that we have failed as well? Hearing the discussions, the elders' expressions turned ugly. Some of the more hot-tempered ones even flew into a rage. Luo Fu, this meeting was hosted by your disciple. How could something like this happen? You have to give us an explanation. That's right. We have to give everyone an explanation so that the Doctors Association's reputation isn't tarnished. Luo Fu's expression darkened. He turned to Qiu Ping and asked, Qiu Ping, what did you do? I asked you to assist Yu Ting, and you made such an unforgivable mistake. Qiu Ping was stunned. He looked at Luo Fu's sharp gaze and sighed in his heart. He knew that Elder Luo Fu wanted to sacrifice himself to protect Lin Yuting. However, he was the one behind this. Lin Yuting had only given him a few instructions. Master, I know I was wrong. Qiu Ping knelt on the ground with a thud. When he looked down, a cold glint flashed across his eyes. This has nothing to do with Senior Sister Yuting. I really don't like Yin Luo Feng. That's why I wanted to kick her out. He raised his head and glared at Yin Luo Feng furiously. Senior Sister Yuting was so polite to her, but she didn't know what was good for her. Furthermore, I overheard that she was planning to frame Senior Sister Yuting. Luo Fu looked at Qiu Ping in shock. She framed Yuting? Why? Why? Qiu Ping was startled. He had only said it casually. He hadn't thought of a reason yet. Because he clenched his fists tightly, and a thought flashed through his mind. Because she heard that the Ghost Emperor was invited to the Doctors' Conference this time. Furthermore, the Doctors' Association planned to invite the Ghost Emperor to be the referee. At that time, the Ghost Emperor, as the judge, would have to interact with Senior Sister Yuting. She had wanted to hurt Senior Sister Yuting out of jealousy. Master, I just want to strike first and gain the upper hand. Hearing Qiu Ping's angry words, some people who didn't know what was going on took him seriously. Qiu Ping, what did you just say? Lin Yuting frowned. Did you really hear me? Yin Luo Feng wants to hurt me because of this? Based on Lin Yuting's understanding of Qiu Ping, she knew that he was making things up, but that didn't stop her from adding fuel to the fire. Because she understood that after today's events, it was impossible for Yin Luo Feng to submit to her. Chapter 632. So what if they shed all pretense of cordiality? Since she refused to submit, she could only die. Senior Sister Yuting, I heard this with my own ears. It's not false, Qiu Ping vowed. Yin Luo Feng has long been in love with the Ghost Emperor. She came here to see the Ghost Emperor. The Ghost Emperor would never spare a second glance at a shameless woman like her. That's why she was jealous that Senior Sister Yuting had the chance to interact with the Ghost Emperor. She wanted to frame her. Qiu Ping spoke as if he was telling the truth, and everyone believed his words. This woman looks like a decent person, but she's actually this kind of person. She would do anything to get a man. TSK. You really can't judge a book by its cover. Unfortunately, I heard that the Ghost Emperor has no interest in women, so she's destined to have a pipe dream. Yin Luo Feng did not seem to notice the crowd's mockery. She narrowed her eyes and looked at Qiu Ping. What else do you have to say? Why don't you tell me everything? Qiu Ping was stunned. He could not understand how this girl could remain so calm in the face of his false accusations. Did she not want to defend herself? Qiu Ping gritted his teeth and said, Furthermore, I can prove that Yun Luofeng's medical skills aren't very good. Yesterday, when I was ordering Ling Yin to pretend to be sick, I accidentally saw her disciple. It must have been her little disciple who eavesdropped on our conversation. Yesterday, Lin Rubai had indeed been playing with milk tea nearby and had disturbed Qiu Ping, who had been hiding in his room discussing something. Lin Rubai had not heard their conversation, but that did not stop Qiu Ping from framing them. Elder Rong scoffed and asked sarcastically, Then how do you explain how Yin Luo Feng managed to break through your cover with just a few tricks? Hee. Qiu Ping's lips curled into a mocking smile. Elder Rong, if you want to know, I can give you an explanation. I was indeed careless in this matter. I gave Ling Yin the medicine too early, and it caused the medicine to lose its effect. Do you really think it was because of Yin Luo Feng? When Lingya heard Qiu Ping's words, she opened her mouth as if she wanted to say something. However, when she saw Qiu Ping's cold gaze, the words stuck in her throat. She couldn't say them, nor could she swallow them. It's easy to prove my medical skills. Yin Luo Feng glanced at Qiu Ping, paused, and said, I can heal all the patients here in half an incense stick's time. As soon as the young girl's voice fell, it caused a burst of laughter. Recover all the patients in half an incense stick's time? Was this a joke? With so many people in the square, it would take more than half an incense stick to burn just to diagnose the illness. She still dared to boast? Yun Luo Feng. Lin Yiting raised her eyebrows and said in a neutral tone, "You should take back your words. Otherwise, you will definitely regret it. I'm doing this for your own good. I can't bear to see you lose face in public." Yin Luofeng acted as if he didn't hear Lin Yiting's warning and didn't answer her question. "If I can cure all the patients in half an incense stick's time, then the dragon crystal sword as the prize for the doctor's assembly will be given to me. In addition, I want the medical city to disappear from this day forth. I want the medical city to disappear." How domineering did she have to be for her to say such words at this moment? Perhaps in the entire roaring dragon continent, no one would dare to say that the medical city would disappear.